Hey there, happy Monday, and welcome to the Wise Guys in Tucson and Beaumont, Texas, right out of the gate. It's almost like Neil and Michael were waiting for the split second.
I think Neil had it typed in.
It was a contest.
Neil had it typed in, and then bam, he hit the thing from Tucson, and then Beaumont came in right behind.
Vegas in third, silver medalist, nice job.
There
and
we go.
Orem is just outside the medal round at number 4. Dave McCann, Blaine Fowler with the Wise Guys. Welcome to the #1 BYU Sports live stream talk show in the entire world. We remind you to subscribe. Follow us on YouTube. It's free. Put a link in the chat as it always is. And you hit the subscribe button. We're also live on Facebook, Twitch, and our home base is always ysguys.com.
Yeah, Harriman's in the house already. BYU Sports Addict, always in every week. Rob. So the show from Ridgecrest, California, they're joining us tonight. And we, it seems like the Philippines and Colombia and Japan, they always come in. I did talk to our friend Corey from Japan just the other day.
Yeah.
And he sent some things over from Japan, from the PGA, for one of the big charities that Brenda's with here in Utah. So,
your wife, Brenda?
Yeah, my wife, Brenda. So,
awesome.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. So Corey, our mainstay over in Japan, he's going to join us. I know he's going to be on. So we're glad to have you. Remember, go to ysguys.com. If that's how you're getting in tonight, that's great. It's kind of the clearinghouse for everything you need associated with the show. And make sure you subscribe, because then you're going to get our weekly email that comes out. It has highlights from the show, all of our past interviews, including folks like Steve Young and Danny Ainge and Max Hall, Wally Joyner, Marie Osmond, Jimmer Fredette, Brandon Fugel. How fun was that to have Brandon on last week? That was
out of this world.
Yeah,
in more ways than one.
That is a perfect phrase to use for it. Micah Harper was on the show right after him, and then Micah stayed after the show and said, "Can we go out to the Skinwalker Ranch with him? Can we go do a team building event?"
It had
out
us
there?
all out on edge.
It was great. Sherry Dew joined us. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. We got some really fun guests on the show tonight and coming up in the coming weeks. You and I were just going through our June schedule. Wow. Just wow for who we have in June. So make sure you subscribe at wiseguys.com, ysguys.com, and then you're just part of the family.
Tom, we see you in Vallejo, California. Welcome to the Wise Guys. And everybody else, Nebraska's in. Warren, good to see you. Nope, that's Weston, not Warren.
Yeah, that's
Weston, good to see you.
Yeah.
And here's what we got coming up tonight. Jake Retzlaff getting ready to win the quarterback job ahead of the Cougars' second season in the Big 12. He's going to be sitting right over there.
Yeah.
And we got a lot of questions for him.
Yeah.
And, we tried some fun stuff with Micah last week on, which player would be the president. I said, we're gonna roll some stuff over at Jake.
And we'll see how Jake compares, right?
Yeah.
And we love Jake. He's great. And it's going to be fun to have him on. We got track and fields, Macy Taylor. She's going to be here. And the sophomore is one of the best athletes in program history. She also has a unique job on campus.
Yeah.
That goes dual sport athlete that has a unique job. We're going to talk about that.
And I'll tell you, here's a taste of the uniqueness. So while she's doing her sport, she's promoting her teammates doing their individual events in the same sport.
Right.
In the same sport.
I don't know if anybody else has done that. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think it's pretty cool.
Wouldn't you just get that job and just promote yourself?
Yeah.
No, and then, oh, by the way, there's some others.
She's taking care of her teammates. So we'll talk to Macy about that tonight.
Mark Comer of the Royal Blue Collective's here to show how Cougar Nation from all economic levels can participate in this drive for NIL support for BYU Sports and for the athletes through the Royal Blue. And so, a lot of times we think that's just for rich people. Or people with piles of money laying around.
That's not true, yeah.
That's not how you build an empire in the NIL, and Mark's here to explain their new program. And I think everyone will like it because everyone can participate in it, and then you feel a part of it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to bankrupt you.
When you sign up at ysguys.com, you're part of our family.
Yeah.
And then when you sign up and start to contribute at whatever level to the Royal Blue, you're part of that family. And you're part of the BYU family with all of it.
It's a lot of families.
Right? Yeah. And hey, we need people in families. Hey, there's Glenn in from the Philippines. Glenn, we've been waiting for you to get in from the Philippines.
Now we can start.
Now the show can get going.
Jonathan's in from Henderson, Nevada. That's just right next to the Philippines. So
that's right.
We've got our reach here across the globe tonight. Let's start with some headlines. Just before I came over, I saw a tweet per John Rothstein, who covers college basketball, and he said that Big 12 play will start December 30th or 31st. It's a 20-game schedule. We knew that, but there will be 2 games a week, no buys. Once it starts, it goes until the tournament and then the big dance. Now there's 16 teams, and so it's going to be nuts.
Yes.
But it's going to be a lot of fun.
And some teams that were maybe a little like Kansas because of injuries was down last year. Kansas is back in everybody's top 10.
Yeah, all of a sudden they're number one by some of the guys they bought.
The league is going to be... I feel like the league was down a little bit last year by its standards, and especially because of some injuries. The league's going to be the best league in college basketball again this next year, like it traditionally has been.
Because Arizona's coming in with it.
Yeah, you bring Arizona.
We lose Texas and Oklahoma, that's fine with them.
No big
for them, especially in basketball. And you know what? BYU has 5 scholarships still to fill. We'll ask Mark for some inside info on how that's going.
Yeah.
He might know a little bit.
And
he might not, but he might.
It's active recruiting time, right? So they've had folks on campus, recruits.
And they've got some more coming.
Both high school and portal folks the last couple of weekends. And we don't really talk about individual recruits that often, but I can just tell you this. Some of the rankings for the recruits that have been on campus the last couple of weekends are the highest of anybody that's ever been on BYU's campus.
Yeah.
Now, Colin Chandler fit into that group. Remember, he's the highest rated recruit BYU had ever signed. Never stepped foot on campus. Diverted to Kentucky when he just got off of his mission. That level of recruit and hire has been on campus the last couple of weekends for BYU. So,
all right, Ruthie, we got your question on Livestream. We're going to get right to it as we move to football. Earlier today, Colorado transfer Isaiah Jatta committed to the Cougars on social media. He is a slim 6'6", 315.
Yes.
Appeared in 11 games for the Buffaloes, 1 start against UCLA. But before he went over to play for Dion for primetime, he was a junior college All-American at Snow College who transferred to Colorado. And now he's coming to BYU. How big of a deal is that?
It's a big deal.
It's bigger than 6'6", 315.
I think it's equivalent to that size.
That's big.
I think that's a big, we don't even have to exaggerate. It's a big deal.
That's big.
No, because it's in a position that BYU's been trying to fill. I became a little more aware this last week of a player that's here. I didn't know who he was. And I saw him at the gym, and he was with a couple of BYU players. He was with Carter Wheaton, and he was with Fisher Jackson. And I walked up to this guy. I'm like, who is this guy? Like, he's a manster. He's half man, half monster. I'm like, the guy was like 6'5", 6'6", probably 285 pounds and shredded. He was built like a strong safety. Because he's in workout stuff. I'm like, who is this guy? And they go, oh, this is Sonny. And so I went home, and then Gavin came by later, and I'm going, Gavin, I met a guy named Sonny. He goes, yeah, Sonny Tuala. I'm like, who is this guy? And he goes, he's a JC kid from Citrus. He's from Australia. He didn't play football in high school. His first year of playing football was down there. And I'm like, he looks like a freak. He goes, oh, he is a complete freak of nature. He says, you know how we talk about finding diamonds in the rough?
Yeah.
He says, we think now that he's here, he's now with the team, working out with the team, that he can be 310 pounds. He's already the fastest offensive or defensive lineman on the team. And they're like, potentially, this is a first-round draft pick defensive lineman.
Okay.
I'm like, wow.
Sign him up.
So there's a name you haven't heard. And so they're filling in some blanks. Up front on the offensive and defensive side, BYU needs to get a little deeper and a little more talented. And these two, that one and the one I'm talking about right now, are going to really help this fall.
I ran into a visiting recruit at Magoby's.
That's right. I heard about this.
With Justin Enna and his group. And I said, what, are you taking all the linebackers to breakfast today? And he said, well, then he introduced me to the visitor.
Yes.
And I think I heard that went really well. And so we'll see.
And he's from a school in Southern California.
Yeah. But they're not messing around.
Yeah.
I think they enjoy the fact that there's all this flash bang over here with basketball.
Yeah.
While they're over here working on some stuff.
Yeah, I know there's some good stuff going on behind the scenes. We just talk about a couple, but there's a lot of that going on. And
Russell in from Covina, California. Good job, Russell.
Yeah.
All right, circle this on the calendar. It's coming up. Details, including kickoff times and TV info for the first 3 games, will be announced on Thursday, May 30th.
Yes.
That's the word from ESPN. So we will know the first 3 games. We know who they are.
We know they are. Southern Illinois is at BYU on the 31st. And the following week on Friday night, we know it's a Friday night game, BYU at SMU. And then the following Saturday, BYU at Wyoming. But we'll know TV network, time, all of that stuff here.
It feels like, to me, Southern Illinois is going to be a 8-15er.
Yeah.
The late window, August 31st. And you know what? It's hot. I'm okay with that.
I like night games in the early part
I
of the
don't like them that late because, it impedes the Jets. Because they don't come over in the dark. So that part, we'll see what happens there. The Friday night SMU feels like ESPN all over it.
Yeah.
SMU probably going to be ranked in the top 25. They finished the season in the top 25. And then BYU. So BYU's always a draw for ESPN. That feels like a Friday night.
Yeah, it sure does. And SMU's a team on the rise. They, they're in the ACC now, so that'll be a fun one.
Wyoming feels like a FS1 game.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Yeah.
And it's on a Saturday. There's some really big games. We're going to talk about some of them here in just a second in those first few weeks. So I have a feeling we're not playing marquee games those first three. SMU is a really good game, and Wyoming's a game that's going to be tough to win, but we see them doing that. And so I kind of think they'll be just later in the night.
3-0 would be a good start. It's not a guarantee, because I think SMU is really good. But those are 3 winnable games for BYU to start. Now, this is not an easy, hey, let's pad the preseason schedule type of schedule, because Wyoming is tough at home.
Feels like we shouldn't be.
SMU is really good.
That's what it feels like.
And BYU is expected to manhandle Southern Illinois at home, right?
Yeah.
But 3-0 is not out of the question. And actually, that should be the expectation.
And 2-1 is a must.
Oh, yeah. My expectation is 3-0, and anything worse than 2-1 would be a huge disappointment.
So there's a number of sports books, in fact, all of them that I've seen out of Vegas, projecting BYU's win total at 4.5. 4.5, which I find strange. They won 5 last year, and it seems like they've fixed a lot of things. But 4.5, I've got an article at Deseret.com that you can check out for more info on that. But that doesn't feel right. I mean, those guys are geniuses at how they do point spreads and all that stuff, but there's something that doesn't quite feel right.
Yeah, and what they're discounting that Jake, for instance, who's coming on the show today, played in 4 games last year. He's going to do nothing but get better and be able to manage games and take care of the ball better. You're going to have healthy, deep running backs, wide receiver group. You remember on the show, how many weeks ago did we have Darius on here?
A few weeks.
So a few weeks ago, we have Darius Laster on here, and Darius explained to us, that was eye-opening. LJ was on the same night. So we had LJ and Darius on, and they both talked about how when Jake was in the game, he'd make a check to a different play, and there were times when Darius would just be like, I don't know what route I'm supposed to run.
Yeah.
And he'd look next to him, and he would look at Keelan Marion, and Keelan Marion was looking back at him like, don't look at me. Bro, I'm brand new to this offense too. But Darius said, it's a different story now. And Darius said, not only do I know what I'm supposed to do, I know what every other receiver's route is supposed to do, and I know where the quarterback's looking, and I know what this route's supposed to do to the defense. And he says, that's how I feel about the whole receiver group. This is a deep receiving core. They've added to the tight end core. The freshman, Swanson,
it feels like
he's a beast. I just feel like there's weapons, there's experience at quarterback. They're going to be good up front, and I think the defense takes a giant leap forward in the second season under Jay Hill, as this whole defense was running a new defense last year, and they're going to understand that better and be more assignment sound. And they weren't bad. But they
could be better.
And consider they lost their 2 starting safeties before they ever played a game last year.
Yeah.
And those guys are both back. And now they've got depth at that position.
Yeah, it just seems like we're going to talk to Jake about that.
Yeah, 4.5 just seems...
Doesn't feel right.
That seems out of whack to me.
Doesn't feel right.
So...
college football announced some notable kickoff times. And here's the thing about... and Dr. Ketch is already worried about the Wyoming game. By the way, Puget Sound is in. The Jet. I don't think we've had one from the Puget Sound area, but Jet's in the house tonight.
I love it.
The Wise Guys.
Jet, thanks for coming in. And you know what? I just spent the whole weekend in the Puget Sound. Can I say, why are your pollen counts so high right now? I got off the airplane. I started sneezing my head off Friday.
All right.
And I didn't stop till I came home last night. And if you wonder why I sound like I sound and why I'm coughing, it's thanks to the Puget Sound. I was in Seattle all weekend. But I do have to say this.
You know, it is spring.
When that sun comes out up in Puget Sound area in Seattle, I'm not sure there's a more beautiful city in the world than Seattle. The Emerald City is gorgeous. Yeah. So I appreciated that. I did not appreciate the extremely crazy pollen counts. No.
Linda, by the way, is here from Saratoga Springs. They're not sneezing as much over there.
Yeah, thanks, Linda.
So once they start announcing college times, kickoffs, and TV channels,
it's on.
It feels like it's like really around the corner. Mm-hmm. So we picked some of the big ones. And then that'll lead us into our visit with Mark Comer, and then Jake is coming up after Mark. But August 24th is the first game.
Yeah, Florida State against Georgia Tech in Ireland.
Yeah, that's 93 days out.
Yeah, that's
much.
at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, right? On ESPN, 93 days away.
Then Thursday, August 29th, North Dakota State is going to go to Boulder and beat Colorado. On ESPN.
I like that you're predicting that already.
9 o'clock Eastern or 6 o'clock our time. I saw some pundits out there just going, Colorado is out of their minds for scheduling this game.
Seriously, why would you play that team?
They're going to, and we're going to watch it.
It's a lower level that's really good and can beat you.
Yeah, and Colorado is not. They're still figuring it out. So, and then Saturday, August 31st, that's the same day as BYU and Southern Illinois. Again, we're going to find out those TV time, that TV time on August 30th. But there's some big ones.
Yeah, Clemson and Georgia at 10 a.m. That's a big one.
That's on ABC. Fresno State's at Michigan. That's prime time on NBC at 5:30.
Yeah.
Then we go the next day, Sunday, September 1st, USC and LSU. They're going to kick at 5:30 on ABC.
I don't like that they're playing college football game on Sunday.
Yeah, but
it's always been reserved for the NFL.
But they're not. The NFL's off.
No, I
they
know.
Don't start till next week.
Traditionally, I don't like college football on Sunday.
I know, but are you going to watch it?
I'm watching it.
Yeah, me too.
So
Saturday, September 7th, Texas at Michigan. That's a big one. 10 a.m. on Fox. And then the following 2 weeks after that, CBS gets their big debut into the Big Ten.
Yeah, USC at Michigan, 12:30 Mountain.
That's the kind of game that they did the whole TV deal for.
Yeah, this is big. That's a Big Ten matchup, right?
Yeah. All right, Mark, let's bring you into the hot seat. Again, we'll have a quarterback, Jake Retzlaff, in just a bit. We have a lot of football to talk with him.
Yeah.
But that schedule thing, I don't know. I'm kind of twisted that way. Once it starts coming up, it's like, what is that? That's like in a few weeks.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. It really is. Mark.
Let's start with the business of name, image.
Welcome back.
Nice to be here.
And likeness as we bring in our first guest tonight and a frequent guest on our show, Mark Comer from the Royal Blue Collective. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. I always love listening. You guys have great guests every week, and I kind of got a little sneak peek of some of your future guests.
We got in June? Yeah, we got in June.
We appreciate our relationship with you.
Mom's the word, but that's awesome.
Well,
you guys, I love your show.
And you've helped us as you work with a lot of the players in different sports. You've been a great partner of the show to help funnel people over our way and help us get some of the big names that are currently playing at BYU. So BYU fandom all over the world can get familiar with these folks, you know?
Which is nice because it's great to get to know the players and know their personalities and you know, kind of have that little bit of a personal connection as a fan base with the players. And we have a lot of great kids, great young men and women that are BYU athletes.
Let's start with an update because it's been a little while since you've been here. How is BYU doing on the competitive field of NIL with their Big 12 colleagues? Where are we at?
I think very well. I think that, you know, you have, most of the support right now goes to football and men's basketball.
Right.
Now, there's been some other things that have been done for baseball and for volleyball with some great donors have stepped up and done some things. But, you know, you look at basketball as an example, and that's what everyone's really talking about right now. I feel like the Royal Blue and the basketball NIL, it's a top 15 collective, very, very competitive.
And 15 in the country.
Yeah. And what happens is that just allows, obviously, the coaches to really know they can go out and recruit the best athletes. Sometimes those athletes aren't the best fit, or maybe, you know, they like other situations better. But for the staff to be able to go out and do that and find the right athletes that they really want, you know, it's been really important. So we've had a lot of really good donors and people step up and really make some things happen to allow the coaching staff, because even a year ago and less than a year ago, sometimes the talk was more about, well, BYU the collective doesn't have the money to go get these athletes.
A lot of the talk about yeah. Because it's easy to say and hard to prove.
Right. Exactly. And I wouldn't agree with that narrative necessarily, because I kind of have a little bit of a picture on the inside. And but that's not really the conversation anymore. I mean, you see the athletes that are visiting and that Coach Young and his staff are going out and bringing here and talking to. These are guys that are getting recruited by the top programs in the country.
Right.
And we have a legitimate shot to get these kids.
But when we talk to players, and we have them on here that are involved, they basically say that, no, it's competitive. It's fine. Trevin, now I'm thinking of a couple of weeks ago when Trevin was on, but they all also add this. They all go, but BYU is a little different in that, yeah, they're competing from a financial perspective, but this networking opportunity and the way the BYU and the Royal Blue and everybody associated with BYU is networking us and helping us understand business, so that we can not just make money while we're playing football for BYU, but have a way to make a living whether we play professional sports or not. That's so unique to BYU. This is what the athletes are saying. So is that unique, and how is that working?
You know, it's great to hear the athletes, talk about that, because from the beginning, the Royal Blue, it was about the whole athlete. It wasn't just about the money. We had no interest in going and just getting into bidding wars with the schools across the country. There's a lot more. The financial support obviously is really important, because these athletes are getting thrown a lot of big figures at them. Now, a lot of those figures that we hear about aren't necessarily accurate, right? But there's a lot of money being thrown at athletes at these big programs. BYU, as we all know, is a unique place, and it's a different place. And so how can we tap into the uniqueness of BYU, and support the athletes financially, but even more valuable than the money that they're receiving, tap into one of the greatest business networks of any school in the country. Mm-hmm. So I coached youth football, my boys, for a long time, and a number of their teammates were getting recruited in high school by the Stanfords and a lot of schools from around the country. And I would talk to their parents and say, look, obviously Stanford's a great school, but a lot of times you go to Stanford, you're one of 120 football players. And when you're done, you're done. When you come to BYU and you succeed at BYU, you're legendary for life, and this network will take care of you for life. So that is a big part for football recruiting as well. The mentoring program that we have in place, the networking, financial literacy, the classes. We brought in Fraser Bullock about 3 weeks ago for all the athletes. So how many athletes across the country have an opportunity to sit and listen to Fraser Bullock for an hour? Yeah. Just talk about what he has done successfully and not, and how that translates to the athletes. So it is unique, and I love it that the athletes understand that. And that's what we really try to do. Is the emphasis is not on the money. The emphasis is, how can we as a whole athlete create something that long after you leave BYU, that impact that you had, the network, the connections that you made here, your plan B. Right. 95% of athletes, football players, think they're going to play in the NFL, and only 1.4% will. So don't discourage those dreams. Help support every way you can. But your plan B, how can we get that established here?
If you have a question for Mark on the NIL, on the live stream, this is the time to send it to us.
Yeah, BYU Sports Addict said, this is one of the things I love about BYU's position when it comes to NIL. Like, I think BYU's fan base wraps their arms around and their minds around, yeah, we want to have it be different than Miami or Florida State that's just saying, let's go pay a high school quarterback that's unproven $1 million. Let's just give him $1 million a year. And which is crazy to me.
It is, and it's so hard because with the transfer portal, and you have these kids go. There's a kid that went to Colorado and got paid a lot of money to go, one and done. Now he's at another school and getting another. And I don't fault him. I mean, that, these kids can go and they can try to make as much money as they can if that's what's most important. But it really is. There has to be something more, and we want an athlete to come to BYU, and when they graduate, say, hey, the best decision I ever made was to go to BYU. And hopefully, we've made a lot of progress. We have some great guys that are members of the board that are donating their resources, their company resources, to create the mentoring side of it, to create the financial literacy. And we have a great sponsor who helps with all the taxes and educates on taxes. A lot of these athletes is the first time they've really been making any money. Yeah. So there's a lot of things, and it really resonates with the parents. And it resonates with a lot of the athletes. And so I was talking to Jay Hill a couple weeks ago, and he's, it's a big part of what they share in recruiting are the benefits, of course, of coming to BYU and playing in the Big 12 and all those things, but also what are the other benefits that they're going to get up that hopefully set them up for life?
Is anybody else doing stuff like that, like helping the kids with their taxes and helping them with financial planning and teaching them financial literacy and all that? I mean, I haven't heard about that. Maybe somebody else is doing it, but certainly is not a bunch of schools doing that.
No, none that I have heard. And, there's some mentoring programs that have kind of been set up that seem to be a little bit more, maybe they're not fully launched yet or whatever. But I feel like what we have done and what we've been able to do is very, very unique to pretty much every other school out there.
And I want to make sure that everybody understands, we're talking about this unique part of BYU's NIL, but remember what we started with. Mark said that we're top 15 in being able to fund, so there are dollars there too. It's not like BYU's a pauper and so we have to make up for it with mentoring. It's like Kalani's vision, and I know that Kevin Young's vision now and Mark's vision for this is, no, we're going to raise money and it's going to be sufficient to compete. But that's not all we're going to do for these players. They're going to get more than that, and that gives you a huge recruiting advantage.
Here's a money question, and this is why you're here tonight for a couple of minutes, and we're glad to have you. Jake Retzlaff's coming up in just a couple of minutes. There's a new plan, and you're here to announce it on how Cougar fans all around the world can become part of the Royal Blue and support guys like Jake as they're coming through. So let's hear it. How can everyone get involved?
Well, to start with, we had a lot of companies, a lot of corporations, and some individuals that really stepped up in a big way to really get the ball rolling. But there's this monthly fan membership that we just launched a few weeks ago. We want to open this up to everyone. We have been getting donations on the website of $25, $50, which is awesome. People give what they can. But now we want to create like an official, and we've created kind of an official program where you can come in at $19.84. That's the 1984 package. Woo-hoo. Or $49.95, the True Blue package, or the MVP at $100 a month. You'll get a quarterly swag box, $100 a month. I think they got a signed Jimmer jersey and a Jimmer t-shirt. We're launching a quarterly Chalk Talk when you come in at least the True Blue level with coaches. We're going to do some meet and greets. There's a lot of things that we're doing. So it's not just, here's $100, thank you.
Poof.
Yes.
Yeah.
We want to return and give some really cool benefits.
Be part of the family.
Yeah, be part of the family. And so, right now, actually, we just launched this thing. If people join before June 1st, we're going to do a bunch of drawings. And I brought this just so I didn't miss out on anything. One of the prizes, 2 tickets to the first BYU football home game, and we'll do a private team experience. Signed basketball or signed jerseys from Richie Saunders, Trevin Nell, Dawson Baker, Dallin Hall. 2 teams signed BYU footballs, exclusive BYU merchandise. We can do a lot of that stuff. We're the official NIL of BYU.
Right.
We have great access to the athletic department, to the athletes. We work with them constantly. Jake and I talk a lot, and it's great. And so because we're the official.
Do you approve some of the passes Jake's some of the routes he's going to?
Absolutely.
That's nice. You are inside. That's
100%.
Nice. Jake, we're going to confirm that in just a couple of minutes.
But it just, this kind of program, it allows everybody, because the biggest question, the first question was, what is NIL? And people are just reading about it, and really it was kind of negative. There's a little bit of negative connotation to that. But the second thing is, well, how can I get involved? Maybe I'm not in the position to donate a lot of money. How can I get involved? This gives every fan the opportunity to participate in supporting the athletes directly. Now, a few other schools around the country have a fan membership program that are raising $2, $3, $4 million a year for their NIL. And the unique thing about the Royal Blue also is this is all, every dime that comes in goes to the athletes.
Yeah.
And so when somebody is on our $50 a month program, they know that's helping us get the best athletes here, keep the best athletes here. And that's also, I think, a little bit unique, but just opening it up to our unbelievable fan base around the world that you guys know and see all these guys, we feel like we should be able to get 10,000 BYU fans from around the country donating an average of $30, $35 a month, whatever that is.
And that adds up to, that's how you build an empire.
That's how you build an empire. So we have some good goals of growth. The NIL world's changing a lot and pretty rapidly.
Yeah, John Crowder asked, he said, what's changing? What's on the horizon? And he says, is there Like, is unionization? Is there talk about that for like what's going to happen? Do you have a vision into the future for us?
I don't think anybody does. It changes so quickly. But my opinion, based on things that I see and hear and people I talk to, at a certain point, it may very well just go that every school is paying the athletes.
Right.
Now, that opens up a whole bunch of new questions of, are they employees or are they not? But it seems to be going in that direction. One thing that I want BYU fans to understand is the support that they've given has been really significant, though, to allow what's happening with the BYU, with the men's basketball program, with the football program, the recruiting class that we had last year that Jay, was just awesome.
Defense is going. I'm telling you, people are going to be surprised. Defense can be lights out this year.
I agree 1,000%. And so in the meantime, wherever it gets to where it's going to get, we need to do everything that we can to really help support the program and help support the athletes.
We just put
put in the chat the link.
All the info in the link for the Royal Blue Collective and the membership program, which I think is a great idea. You got 5 scholarships left on the basketball side just to get a team together, and the Royal Blue is a big piece of that. So this summer's it's just the start. Isn't it? This is the start of where you need to go.
It really is, and I feel like we've made a lot of progress in the last year, and we have some pretty lofty goals for what we can do, because we all like to drive home Saturday night from Lavelle Edwards Stadium with a smile on our face, or leave the Marriott Center on a Wednesday night or a Saturday night happy. This is one part of what us as fans can do to help, but it's getting wins, and that's what we want to do. But doing it the right way with the right athletes and having great impact on those athletes for their lives.
People want to feel invested with their money. They like to get stuff, like these boxes you're going to send out. And then they like to feel like they're part of that win.
That's right.
We're part of the reason Jake is here, and that goes that whole family concept we're talking about.
And if you don't vote, you can't complain about who won, right?
Right.
In the vote.
They do. But you shouldn't.
They still do.
You can really be a part of the success and the continued success of the football program.
Awesome.
Of the BYU.
Thank you. Thanks for coming in.
Anytime.
And you're welcome anytime. And keep us up to speed on what's going on and how we can help, and how the fans of this show and of course all the clips on YouTube and the reach only grows after we get off the air.
You guys have been awesome, and your show is great, and big supporters, and you guys understand how important this is. And BYU understands it as well. It took a little while for everyone to kind of wrap their head around it, but you guys have been awesome, great supporters, and we appreciate that as well.
Thank you, and let us know, and we'll keep in touch, and we'll keep you in touch with everybody else.
All right.
Mark Comer of the Royal Blue Collective. Do you still have a lung?
No, I'm telling you,
did you cough the lung up?
Thanks, Mark.
Mark, thank you. As we get Jake in, let me update you on some of the guests that we've got coming up. Next week, Cody Epps is going to be here. He's going to catch a lot of footballs from our guest here tonight. Mariah Hudgens, newcomer to the women's basketball program, will be here. June 3rd, Andy Reid will be on the Wise Guys. Carlos Iglesias on June 10th. He's the guardian of Kiba Keita, and he's going to explain to us how kids come from foreign countries to the United States in their foundation, and they get placed at schools. It's a fascinating journey. Travis Hansen will be with us as well on June 10th. June 17th, Fraser Bullock and Jimmer Fredette, the motor behind Utah's Olympic movement, Fraser Bullock, and the Olympian, Jimmer Fredette, before he heads over to Paris. And later, by the way, in August, we're going to have President Shane Reese and Utah President Taylor Randall sitting right there as we get ready to kick off the new fall season.
We weren't kidding about June, were we?
No, June, July.
June kicks off with Andy Reid. How about that?
So. Our next guest here tonight is competing for the starting job at quarterback this fall, as BYU plays its second season in the Big 12. Junior from Corona, California, started the last 4 games of the season. After Keaton Slovis went down with an elbow injury, it is our pleasure to welcome Jake Retzlaff to the Wise Guys. We've gotten to know him a little bit over the last season or so, and we're going to get to know him a lot better tonight. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys for having me on.
What's going on?
Not much, just a lot of workouts. We started up, last week, and so the strength staff has made it their responsibility to make our summer as miserable as possible. So yeah, it's been good getting workouts in and taking a couple classes just to keep getting that.
You went down to cool off in Phoenix over the weekend at the Fan Fest.
How was the Fan Fest?
What was that like?
It was a lot of fun. It was really cool. I mean, I still get surprised wherever we go in the country, the amount of blue that shows up in whatever stadium we're in. And to see that kind of come to fruition in Phoenix was awesome with the Fan Fest. The fans were awesome. It was a lot of fun. So it was cool to see all those guys out there. It was cool to travel with the guys on the team and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, I can't wait to get back down there.
There's a chance. There's a chance when you get out there for Arizona State that BYU fans will have taken over that stadium.
That's what we're shooting for. We're searching for a Tempe takeover.
Yeah, I challenged them, so I hope they come through.
Good. I know that they've been buying up tickets left and right, and you never know with Arizona State because they've been down a little bit, and when teams are down, tickets are available.
Yeah.
And BYU's going to buy them up.
BYU's notorious.
When you run out of that locker room, it should be to a thunderous roar on the road.
When you do a Fan Fest like that, football's obviously big represented, but the other sports are there with you too, aren't they?
Yeah. So I believe Cougarettes came at, Cosmo is the number one attraction regardless of who shows up.
Right.
But, I was down there with Dallin, Richie, and Dawson. And, it's funny because I was talking to them and we were on the same flights and chilling out in the lobbies with them and stuff like that. And it's funny how, like, our facilities are on opposite ends of campus. So we get such little interaction with the basketball guys. And so it's cool to be able to talk to them, meet them, and just kind of hang with them throughout the weekend and just see, that's the other sport that's in the spotlight along with football. And it's good to have those guys in those positions.
When you think about it, when you're out of your facility and they're out of theirs, you're on campus with 36,000 other students. So it is hard to, unless you're in the same class, you could go your whole career and not meet the basketball team.
No, there's no doubt. You could probably easily do that now. But no, like doing events, especially like sports events, it's easier to meet them. And so it's nice to be able to do that and get to know those guys. I've known Dallin briefly, but I just met Richie and just met Dawson, this weekend. And so it was a lot of fun. What
do you think the pressure is compare the pressure? You got Dallin at the free throw line with 22,000 or 20,000 to Marriott Center in a must make. You got you at the 10-yard line on 3rd down and 8 in a must convert. Who's got the most pressure?
All I know is I'm a lot better at 3rd and 8 than shooting free throws. So I'll take the 3rd and 8 all day, and I bet you, he'd probably say the same because he could shoot free throws pretty well. But that's a wonderful question. But I know that as long as we're at home, we feel comfortable. That's for sure.
You just mentioned summer conditioning is underway now, and recruiting. I think it's the last week of recruiting. So the coaches are all gone. They're out on the road. Not like Coach Gavin Fowler, because he's around.
There's no doubt.
Yeah. So some of the analysts and GAs are around, but it's mostly the strength staff that's working with you. What's that like as you get into summer conditioning, and what's the vibe like in the locker room? What are you trying to get done now?
Well, it's just work your tail off and build culture. In my opinion, one of the best ways to build culture is to do hard things together. And so, these summer workouts are so vital for a team to build the team. Just every Friday we have what's called the Friday finisher, and if another group of guys was in here with me, we'd all shudder a little bit because we know what that means.
It's like when you say Mufasa in Lion King, right?
That doesn't work with the high.
Say it again.
It's got some weight to it. So just stuff like that, getting better, and then we also do these team competitions, which is pretty awesome, and we start that coming up next week. They gave us 2 weeks to settle in, and where the team will kind of elect captains of these teams. In the spring, it was 10 teams, and you each had a co-captain. And we literally drafted teams and had a competition go out through all of winter. And there was weekly winners, and there was overall winner, and it was a lot of fun. It made every workout easier, and you got more out of it at the same time because you're putting more in because you're competing with the guy next to you. I remember the big competition that my team won was a prowler push, where you load up the prowler, and I think it was 10 minutes straight. Each team has anywhere from 9 to 12, depending on, injuries or something like that, guys on your team. And so you just alternate, go down the field 100 yards, turn around, come back another 100 yards for 10 minutes straight. And my team won that one, and we were going nuts. And it was I remember off the bat, I was the first guy to go. And I was like, all right, I'm just going to come off flying. Everybody's talking strategy, okay. Yeah. You go 20 yards.
Pace yourself.
You do this and then that. I'm like, no, guys, just push the dang thing as hard as you can until you can't anymore, and then switch. It's just go fast until you can't go fast, and then switch. And I pushed that thing, and I got us out to a huge lead because people are trying to switch over there on the right. And we're team 10, so we're on the very end of the field. And so we just look to our right and see everybody behind, and we're like, all right, we got this. And so we just kept pushing, and stuff like that. It just builds chemistry. It makes it so much easier to know guys who just walked in the building. Mm-hmm. Like it's pretty awesome to be able to do that. And so those team competitions, that builds a team, and that's something we really focus on in this summer training.
Now, you were in our green room when we were announcing some of the TV times for these early college football games. As you hear that, and as fast as life goes, do you catch yourself feeling overly eager to get back on the field in a game setting and get back to winning? Are you okay with 100 days to go through what you're talking about?
I've been eager to get back on the field since we walked off of it, since the plane landed last year back in Provo. And so, like, everybody's telling me, man, this summer's going to go really fast. I hope you're ready. I'm like, well, it can't come fast enough for me. I mean, I know a lot of guys are different. They're like, well, let me get this training in. Let me do one thing at a time. For me, I'm ready to get back to it. I think that our team had a great urgency in spring ball. We're going to carry that urgency through, summer training, and we're going to right into fall camp, and then here we go. And I'm excited to get this thing going because I'm excited for what our team's going to be able to put on the field this year.
And you got some experience this last year. Your debut game comes against West Virginia on the road. And how long did it take? You're out there. This is Big 12. Was there a point in that game where you go, whoa, these dudes are bigger and faster and scarier, not necessarily scary, but bigger, faster, more athletic than the guys I was playing against last year? And JC, sure. Did you feel that at all in that first game?
Sure. I'll tell you what. It was the first. It was my first throw. It was a field out to Cody Epps. It wasn't my first throw of the game, but it was my first read throw. Mm-hmm. I would say I had another throw to Keelan that drove a PI or something and a little screen pass. But those are no really reads. Those are pre-snaps. Just chuck it. This was a post snap. This is my first real read of the game. And I sail it way over his head because I thought about it too much. And I was like, all right, I got it out of my system. Let's just go play ball. Let's go. At the end of the day, they got to – it's the best thing to tell any team that's an underdog at any moment is, they got to put 11 out there just like we got 11 out there. Just because they're a top team in the country doesn't mean they get a 12th. You know what I mean? So that's just the mindset I always have going into a game against whoever. It's well, now let's just be better than their 11 and just go out there and ball. And so, I would say that was the play that I had in my mind that was all right, I'm over it now.
Just got to settle down. That was it. It's different, but I got to settle in.
Sure, it's different, but I've played ball for my whole life, and I'm ready to go. I'm ready for this. There's a reason I'm on the field. It's not, you know what I mean?
Dave and I can, we both remember a play. So we're playing against Pittsburgh, who had just won a national championship, or number 2 in the nation, on the road in our opener in 1984. Robbie Bosco's a first-time starter. I'm standing next to Mike Holmgren, the legendary Mike Holmgren, our quarterback's coach. And Robbie's first throw, he's trying to hit Glenn Kozlowski in and out. And it literally goes 20 feet over my head and Holmgren's head into the 6th row. Yeah. And Holmgren very quietly looks down at his play sheet and he just looks over to me and he goes, yeah, that wasn't good.
No, that was not good.
Yeah. I feel that feeling 100%.
And he ended up winning a national championship that year, so it was all good. Yeah,
it's okay to overthrow that first one, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Get it out of your system.
When you're the quarterback, you're the star, and sometimes the star shines really bright, and then sometimes the star gets some teaching opportunities and moments. We're going to talk about a couple of those because I think setbacks, and we've all had them, reveal so much about us and teach us so much about us. But when the Iowa State game is your home debut the next week, that first series, you roll out to your right and get picked off. Mm-hmm. And no one knows what's going on in your helmet in that moment. But everyone feels the way they feel. What's going on in your helmet in that moment where you go, one, you're coming right back out. Yeah, because they're going to score and you're back out on the field. But what was that like for you? You want to be awesome in that setting. Yeah. And so when it starts like that, what did you learn?
That throw came from a lot of background to that mistake. You know what I mean? Any play in football, it's not just me throwing it to the defense right there. It's a lot of things that go into it, of course. And so that was just me trying to just play hero ball. But after that play, you come to the sideline. And I'm going to break a rule right now because whatever happens on the headset is supposed to stay on the headset, but it'll be cool for this. So I get back on the headset and I'm talking to one of our guys up in the box. And
Matt or A-Rod?
Matt. I was talking to Matt. And Matt just lets me have it. And it was it was Matt to a T. Matt is one of the most competitive guys I've ever met in my life. The guy is so good for a defense and diagnosing plays and stuff like that. And he is letting me have it. And I'm like, I forget what he said. He was like, what are you doing? And that's the worst thing he could have said to me because I'm like, well, I'm not trying to throw it to the other team. Like, I'm trying to score a freaking touchdown. Like, and it was funny because I like just responded with some similar energy, and it like put him in check. He's like, what am I doing? I'm just yelling at this guy for like, we got to go back on the field right now. And it reset us. So it's kind of a funny moment, and it was a great moment between me and him that we'll probably remember forever. Just like that one you said. But when you have anything like that, and we had something similar happen in, the Oklahoma game,
right.
it's the worst play so far, but everybody says it's their favorite play of me. And I'm like, well, thanks, but no thanks.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, after a play like that, you're just like, all right, well, whatever, flush it, let's get back on the field. And there's just like, I feel like in those first two games where they were not pretty for the Cougars out there, and nobody liked to watch those games, and those games don't get turned on in very many households these days. But you just got to take it, learn from every single mistake, learn from everything on the field so you can be better the next week. And that is something I think our team did really well at the end of the year is we learned from West Virginia, we learned from Iowa State, and what did we do? We went out and went head to head with one of the top teams in the country. I think they were 14 when they came to our place, and we had the game, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think our team did a good job of that last year, and it's why we're so eager to get back on the field this year is because we fell up short in the West Virginia Iowa State game, but then right after that Oklahoma State, we went over there and we showed them, oh, these guys aren't just some Mormons from Mormontown. These guys can play ball. Like it was just so inspiring to the team, and it's why the last loss hurt so bad, and it's why we had to sit through however many days it's been, just sitting on our butt and everybody talking about 4.5 games. 4.5 games is the number one thing on our mind right now because like we know that that's complete crap, and we showed it in those last 2 weeks, but people still don't believe it because of what we did the 2 weeks before and earlier in the year. So it's just like those games, man. If you can learn from them like we did and go against Oklahoma and Oklahoma State and show what we can do, it's like, all right, let's come back with that energy to start with. And when we come off the year, when you guys see us start the year like we finished it, competing at the highest level with the best teams, it's going to be awesome. And I can't wait to be out there. And that's why this weight is itching at me.
It's excruciating to wait, right?
Yeah.
Jake Retzlaff with us on the Wise Guys tonight.
Yeah, you mentioned that Oklahoma game and the play. There's plays that occur, especially when you're new and a new player, where you just go, okay, here's what I just learned about that. And there's literally mistakes you'll never make again.
No doubt.
Because you learn, but you have to make that mistake to go, okay, I get it. I get how that looks. I get what I'm supposed to do. That won't happen again. I think sometimes fans don't understand.
They don't. And I tell that to our young quarterbacks. I'm like, guys, the number one thing you have to do is never make the same mistake twice. Now, it sounds weird because there's a lot of mistakes to be had in a game like this where the other team is literally trying to stop you from doing everything you're trying to do. So there's a lot of mistakes to be had, but you have to never make the same mistake twice. And that's such a big thing with coachability too. Like, and with our young guys in the room, I try to tell them that, and I'm like, dude, just don't make the same mistake twice. And if you look at the tape in the last couple of games, it was like, that was all I tried to do. And that was all that ended up happening at the end of the year. And it's why we could be so successful at the end of the year against really good teams is because we're not making the same mistakes we were making 2-3 weeks ago.
And you carried it into spring ball. I mean, Aaron mentioned at the end of spring ball because they keep every little, they're like, hey, guess what? Jake just went through the entire spring practice, did not throw an interception in the entire spring practice from the things that you learned in those 4 games at the end of the year. Am I right?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, and having that much time under my belt under the offense and being able to go out there with those guys with a year under the belt makes a huge difference in this offense. I mean, I remember seeing a stat last year when I committed and I came here. It was like there'd been the only first-year quarterback to succeed well in this system was like nobody. It was like Zach did it okay. Like it's just really hard to be successful in this offense.
You know who struggled? John Beck as much as anybody.
John Beck when he was in his first year, I was like, oh, and John knows I've said this. I'm
Steve Sarkisian went 6-6.
I don't know if John can play, and people are like, why? And I'm like, it's a phenomenal arm. I love his work ethic. He seems really, really smart, but he keeps putting the ball on the ground. Like every time he gets hit, he fumbles.
Yeah,
like he can't play if he keeps doing that. Well, guess what? He didn't keep doing that.
And he had a lot of success.
And his senior year, he may have been as efficient a college quarterback as I've ever seen his senior year, right? Because he fixed all those things.
Yeah,
right?
And that's exactly what it is. And Zach did the same thing.
Yep.
As much as great as Zach was at the beginning of his career, it wasn't that great in the beginning. And that's not a bad thing on Zach. No. That's just growing throughout college football. And now Zach's going to have a great career where, in Denver, as he get a new opportunity now.
Yeah, let's hope. Let's hope he gets a good life over there.
He will. And, he's going to be a lot better. If you look at the tape last year, it's not as bad as everybody's making it sound.
But the Jets' offensive line was as bad bad
Yeah,
as
they're
they
just
looked
as
on
bad as
tape.
everybody says.
That's no question about that.
Yeah, but no, and like you said, that's the thing is it's hard to be successful in something that's so new and so, deep and complex. This offense has so many different variabilities to it. And one example for that for me personally is like in junior college and in high school, I took a shotgun snap 99.9% of the time. I think I took like one under center snap for one special play action play we ran my JUCO year, and I hit the tight end across the field for 20 yards. But like coming here, understanding how to play under center was definitely a jump for me. It was something that if you talk to Matt or A-Rod, it was something I had to work on for a couple of weeks, last year in the spring. And now I'm talking to Matt in meetings. I'm like, dude, can we put more of that stuff in? Like, it's working really well. Our hard play action is working really well against our defense right now. And it's just amazing for me to look back and have some perspective. Like the work I was putting in back then, struggling, hoping he wouldn't call under center. I'm like, call it. Let's
do
go.
this now.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and it's just so awesome to be able to like look back, and be like, okay, these are the steps that you're taking every day, and every day you are taking steps. And so it just comes back to don't make the same mistake twice. And it's easy to say.
Hey, this is, by the way, we're breaking in here. This is a Wise Guys First is Debate says hello from Chile. That's our first.
Oh, yeah, we had,
live streamer from Chile.
We're in the Philippines. We're in Colombia. We're in Japan.
Now we're in Chile.
We're in
tonight.
Chile. How about that? That's pretty cool.
We've got Jake Retzlaff, BYU quarterback on the Wise Guys during his Cougar debut. Started the last 4 games of the season, threw for 648 yards, 3 touchdowns, also ran for 3 scores. And Christian has a question for you. Is BYU going to be using headsets in the helmet this year, and how will that change and impact the game?
Yeah.
I love it so much. We got to use it in the spring because it was okayed. We had some foresight. I got to give credit to our equipment guys for that, to have some foresight and put it on our helmets this spring. And it's awesome. It just expedites communication. The old way we used to do it, if those who don't know, is the headset, A-Rod would tell it to the quarterbacks on the sideline who would signal into the offense. So it's kind of like you're playing telephone.
Yeah.
But now A-Rod's just saying it into my ear. And so it's so much quicker, so much clearer.
And is it as clear
way
like
less
this?
thinking.
Hey, Jake, we're going to run this.
It is that clear.
And what
And
about when you're in hurry up and the receivers are out there? It comes to you. Do you just have hand signals that you're going to give to the guys?
So the way we're doing it right now, we have, our offense can be fast. We don't always want to be fast.
Right.
Obviously, we have fastballs, which is one-word plays, which means we're going hyper fast. So if we're going like a fastball, for example, it's going to be as simple as he's telling me. Now we're still going to be able to use signalers because we can use that for the perimeter. So basically, he's telling me the play. I'm going to tell him the O-line and the running backs, coincidentally, because they're standing right next to me.
Right. Well, LJ told us he used to ask you everything last year.
Yeah, LJ, as a young cat, he was doing that all the time. But it's funny because Hinkley Rapati figured this out like towards the end of spring ball, that he would literally that we'd call a sugar huddle where the 5 linemen stand right in front of me. They're all looking at me, and then Hinkley would be right behind my shoulder.
Yeah,
and he's like looking at the signals, but he's leaning in
so he can hear what he's saying. Yeah,
because then he could just hear it from me, and it's honestly easier for him. And so it's cool to figure out the different nuances of this. Like, yeah, the running back's probably going to be part of that sugar huddle, which you wouldn't think of that before,
right?
Because they would be just looking at a signal. Instead, they'll be part of it, and so it's cool to have that. So the one-word plays, they'll tell me our signalers will still have the one signal for that, but I'm screaming it. Like our one-word plays, our fastballs, we're going. I'm yelling at the receivers, we're running this. You know what I mean? And we have so many different fastballs that I dare a defense to try to pick up on one of our words because we got so many. And so like, other than that, we still have signalers for the perimeter.
Yeah.
And so I can be fast to the O-line. The O-line, now Connor Pay loves it because that guy can get his calls so much quicker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because otherwise he's waiting for me to see the signal. I got to make sure I saw the signal right. Now I tell him, and now he's got to get up there, and now he tells, instead of it's in my head right away, I can just tell him his key words after A-Rod told me to play the first time, and now I can hear A-Rod tell me to play again, and I can just watch my guys get set and know exactly what's going on. It's pretty awesome.
That's cool.
That's great.
So if A-Rod wants to calm you down, he can just pump in some air supply.
Can he also say?
I hope he does.
Can he also say, "Here's the play," and oh, by the way, from up here, it looks like the free safety's cheating out of the middle of the field, so take a look at that post.
So the beauty of this communication is it's just words. It's not hand signals, and I got to read sign language. It's just he goes, we're running Y cross, check flat over dig. That's your read.
Yeah,
I mean? It's that simple.
Do you know how nice that would have been when I was playing for it? Like to say,
right?
Because sometimes you see these things upstairs, you're like, every time we run this, free safety cheats to the strong side of the field. Watch the backside post.
Yep.
If the guy runs out of the middle, throw it.
Yep.
I would love to have heard that in my head.
We'd run a lot of the same
Blaine
plays.
heard a lot of things in his head.
Yeah,
It just wasn't
when I
that.
heard Glenn
That's probably
Kozlowski
true.
and Mark Bellini telling me, by the way, I'm open every single play.
But you're on a
no, you're
time
not.
limit too, though, right? Don't you get about like 8
Yeah.
to 10 seconds?
No, so it's 15 seconds
15?
on the play clock remaining. So basically, depending on the run play, it'll be 40 seconds. So he'll have 25 seconds to give me the play or snap of the ball. So whatever comes first. So he can't be talking to me mid-play if we snap before 15 seconds, which would be a whole
That'd be
event.
really awesome. No.
He accidentally said something in the headset one time. It was Gary was up. I think it was 7-on-7 this spring, and it's one of our dash plays where you could just take the hitch, and he just like says hitch, and his finger was on the button, and Gary was like, "What the heck?" God,
I hope Gary threw the hitch.
Oh,
Did he throw the hitch?
He wasn't sure.
Yeah, I think he did throw the hitch, but like any quarterback, he's probably already thinking it anyways. It's
He
like,
thought that was
we're not-
divine intervention.
Yeah, literally. We're not up there blind. So it's like A-Rod seeing stuff is going to be great, but we're seeing a lot of stuff too. And he'll give us indicators. It's like we run so many we'll run similar concepts out of different sets. And that's the beauty of our offense, is how we can get to so many different plays through different motion shifts, different formations. And so like if we're running a similar play that we ran earlier in the game, he said, hey, that deep safety cheated low on this play. Peep the take
Watch
post.
that, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
that
Watch
simple.
that.
It's
But he
that
doesn't
simple.
get. It's not two-way, right? He doesn't get to
No.
hear from you, so
I
you
don't
can't
get
go.
to say, "Pipe
hey,
down, coach." No.
that was a terrible call.
You after the play, you can't say.
You can't give him feedback.
That was horrific advice you gave me on the last
Yeah,
play.
I'm thinking about hand signals. What
Yeah, you gotta
expletives
be
I
able-
can
yeah,
put in a hand
something.
signal. Coach.
How much is there to? So Darius was on a couple weeks ago, and he was talking about basically there's so many of us trying to learn this offense at the same time that there were times that we were all lost. Did you feel that, son, last year?
No doubt. I mean, and like I heard you say earlier about Darius knowing everything. It's like, and that's where I am at the quarterback position. Like, there's one playbook that you need to know as a quarterback, and you got to know what everybody's doing, and that's why we got to have a mind for the game like nobody else on the field. But the depth of each thing now we're the next level. There's levels to this stuff, and that's why guys like Tom Brady Peyton Manning were so great. It's not because they threw the ball that much better than anybody. It's because they knew what was going on all the time, and they knew every possibility. And so knowing that in this offense, and that's the reason you come out of a spring ball and be able to throw no interceptions, is because you know what's going on. The game is slowing down. The more you know, the deeper the level you know, the game's slowing down, as you guys know. And so having another year in the offense, that's what it does. And that's why I'll tell you what, all these BYU quarterbacks who had a lot more success in their first year is why they did have so much more success in their first year, because they're not taking level 100 classes anymore. They're on level 300, level 400 classes. You know what I mean? They're deep into their major at this point,
Right.
And so like, that's how I felt this spring. And that's why, I mean, the thoughts I had this spring were so different than last spring. Last spring, I'm like, okay, I got to think about, he's running that route, then he's running that route, he's running that. Now I'm like, okay, I know where my guys are going to be. Now let's find what their guys are going to be and where I'm going to be in the pocket. And so, I mean, the way I can describe it best, the difference between last spring and this spring, and why I'm so excited for this year, is because last year I was just trying to be a quarterback in this offense. This year I'm me in this offense. And any quarterback in the country will know how much sense that makes. Like, you feel like yourself. You're moving with your own movements. You're playing with a little swagger, more confidence. It makes all the difference in the world, because you're like, all right, I'm owning this. I own the result of this game, the result of this play. And when you do that, and then you get receivers who are also doing that, you can make some things happen.
Now, for the record, no BYU quarterback ever started against 4 P5s.
That's right.
And
especially in their first 4.
Yeah.
That was A-Rod's point of confidence in me. He said, listen, nobody has done that before.
So you're judged differently because they're big games, they're conference games, and they're games everyone wants to win. And a lot of folks just look at the result and all of that stuff. But in reality, and I think you hit it best just a moment ago, in reality, it's this learning process that, you're drinking out of a fire hose.
Yep.
It's hard to drink out of a fire hose if anyone has. But
I've
a garden
never even
hose,
tried it.
you
I've
can
heard
just
the thing,
bring
but I've
it
never
right
tried
down.
it.
And now you get a chance with Southern Illinois instead of Southern California to start in this junior year. And we had Gary Bohannon on the show a few weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago.
Yeah.
And he had some great things to say about you. You've had great things to say about him. In a quarterback situation in college football, you need 4. It seems.
Yeah, you never know.
You look at every team goes through one. And so how do you feel about the quarterback room with you and Gary going head to head, knowing that each of you are going to need the other one?
Yeah. As the room as a whole is bizarre because of the turnover in the last year has been unbelievable. I mean, you go back to a year and a half ago, there's nobody left. And, you know, before my group came in, which there was 4 of us came in, and then now even, I don't know, 4 more came in, it feels like. It's been so crazy, the turnover, which it helps us all relearn the offense. And so there's no real questions that you should have asked 3 weeks ago because we all know them, which is kind of an interesting thing because everybody knows when you're in a meeting and you're like, I should know this. I don't really want to ask it because coach can be like, you should know this. You know what I mean? And there's none of that, which is kind of cool because we all started from scratch from, you know, a year ago max. And so to be able to, like I said, like there's so much in the learning curve. We're all so close. Now, the year makes a huge difference, no doubt, but I get to know what I was feeling a year ago, and now I can relate that to the guys who are learning it right now. They're in that position a year ago. Yeah. And when you talk about a guy like Gary, I mean, he's incredible to have in the room. This he's awesome. I mean, the dude is on his 13th year of college football, which is pretty cool.
He's a former Big 12 champ.
Yeah. No, but and the best thing about it is he gets to balance our veteran kind of presence and our young guy presence because you're always outnumbered by the young guys and you are the old guys. So that's cool. And you know, he's the way he approaches the game is pretty great. Also, I got to learn a little bit from him this spring and the way he's looking at different things and stuff like that. And I mean, it's cool to having a guy in the room who's done it before, a guy who's been in the pocket before when stuff doesn't go good and when stuff does go good and how he does these different things and to be able to bounce things off of him is super great. And I think he's been able to do that off of me really well because like I've been in the offense already. And as he learned it, the cool thing is he's also been in this very similar offense before.
Right. We're under Jeff Grimes down there, right?
And so it didn't take him a long time to learn it. And so, you know, he didn't need to be, you know, handheld through it. And so that's why he had the success he did right away. But no, he's a great dude. I love having him in the room, and we'll be able to feed off each other so much. We can, you know, back each other up with so many thoughts and so many feelings about what's going on. The funny thing about the great kind of tradition of quarterbacks at BYU is we don't actually have a quarterback in the building who played quarterback or a quarterback coach who played quarterback. Yeah. So it's kind of interesting when you talk to like Matt, he played receiver. When you talk to A-Rod, he played receiver. Yeah. Now, those guys have big brains for the game. There's no doubt. And they know a lot of ball, a lot more than I will ever. They've forgotten more than I'll ever know. And so, but it's still interesting to have the perspective of another quarterback who's been in it before. And
sitting right next to you.
He's sitting right next to me. It's like, Coach, we can't. That's not possible, Coach. Like, you want us to go full field read back to the other side. You know what I mean? And so, not that they're asking us to do that crazy things, but it's like, yeah, Coach, we can easily do that. Or he might be thinking, this could be really tough for you guys to get across through this. Look, if you see this, you got to switch. No, Coach, we could do that. That's fine. It's when you're asking us to do this other thing that you're crazy
you guys maybe
for asking
you maybe talk to each other and you're just like, hey, Gary, like this, what they're asking us to do on this, can you do that? Because I can't. He's like, I can't do it either.
Yeah.
And then
let's figure it out.
Hey, Coach.
Yeah.
Like, you need to teach us something else because we can't do that.
Yeah.
There's some strength in there.
No,
right?
There's 100% a feeling of that. And it comes down to, like, you know, whether it's routes on air, where we're all taking the same rep back to back to back, we get to feel it off of each other. And having a guy like him, his footwork has kind of opened my eyes to the way footwork is. Like, I've always been thought to myself, especially as a young quarterback, like, oh, I got to be cover ground with footwork and be really fast. And what he does that's so cool is he's smooth as fast. And you won't see him cover a lot of ground because a lot of times you don't, especially when he doesn't need to. He doesn't need to cover a lot of ground and footwork within the pocket. And so it's cool to be like, okay, he's simplifying it for himself. Whereas maybe in the past, like, I've tried to do too much in the pocket and my feet are now not underneath me because I'm trying to move too fast. He's simplifying it and moving around in this way. And I'm like, that's something that I picked up when he kind of first came in, was doing routes on air, and whether it's a hard play action footwork or whatever it is he stays in his base really well. He doesn't overextend and stuff like that. So like, oh, that's something I should do instead of just trying to be the hero and make the greatest play action fake in the history of football and the play where it doesn't even really matter. You know what I mean? And so that's the, you know, one thing off the top of the head that I kind of picked up from him, and, you know, maybe he picked something up from me.
Sure.
Yeah. But I mean, he's seen a lot of ball. Like I said, he's an old guy, and I make that joke with him plenty enough, and so he's cool.
Let's a few more questions with Jake Retzlaff. Macy Taylor is going to join us in a few minutes here on the Wise Guys as we have a star-studded show. Let's talk about your receivers. And last week, we tried this with Micah Harper, and we had a lot of fun. So we thought, hey, you know what?
Oh, no.
Let's throw it to the quarterback. We're going to give you a question, and then you answer it with one of your receivers or tight ends.
Gotcha.
Okay? So the first question, who is most likely to become a U.S. Senator?
Oh, geez. A U.S. Senator. Cody Epps.
Oh, yeah.
Mike had him as the President of the United States.
President of the United States.
Yeah, well,
Cody.
If we're going up to president, then yes, Cody.
Well, we just go with Senator.
Okay, well,
but it was the same guy.
We call him Provo, Mayor of Provo every once in a while. So.
There you go.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, who's the most likely to pick up a lunch tab if you guys all go out to lunch?
Who's going to pick up the tab? I would say they're going to throw it at me. No, I'm just kidding. Man, tight ends too, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, a guy who doesn't Tava Taase. He's like the dad. I mean, he is the dad, but he is totally the dad who will pick up that tab for sure.
Taba Taase.
Mavatase, yeah.
Okay.
And by the way, he'll block too.
Oh man, that's what I mean. That guy enjoys it so much. Like the Oklahoma run I had to tie the game late in the game going in the north end zone. He was lead blocking from him, and Isaac Rex were both. And that guy loved that play. Every time we ran it in practice, he was like, "Dude, follow us. We're scoring a touchdown. I don't care." And so that's what I mean. He'll pick up the tab and he'll go pick up that block.
Awesome. All right, who is most likely to name drop at a team meeting?
I would say a young cat like JoJo or something like that.
Oh yeah, when I was talking to such and such today.
Yeah. JoJo for that one?
Phillips?
JoJo Phillips, yeah.
JoJo, okay.
All right.
All right, here comes another one.
Okay, who's most likely to tell you how open they are after every single play?
Keelan.
Keelan is?
Yeah.
So Keelan's the Glenn Kozlowski of his team. So you've probably never heard the name Glenn Kozlowski.
I don't know if I have.
You need to go look him up.
He was a stud. All right.
Played 8 seasons with the Chicago Bears
Nice.
at wide receiver. He was our star.
Nice.
Who is most likely to catch an imperfect pass?
Oh, Darius Lassiter.
You just go get it.
Oh, that guy's going to go.
Darius, Chase might say, hey, what about me?
Yeah, it could be both, but I'll go with Darius with this one. Have you ever shook his hand?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. It's like he's got oven mitts on.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by he'll catch an
I'm
imperfect
so
pass.
excited. Like, after having Darius on the show, I'm so excited to see him this year. Because after he was telling me about his mindset last year versus this year, I'm just like, this dude's going to be so much better this year.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's a crazy athlete with this huge catch radius and these giant hands.
He had a really good spring. Tell you what.
I'm really excited to see his game progress this fall.
BYU quarterback Jake Retzlaff on the Wise Guys tonight. Cougars open the season August 31st against Southern Illinois at Lavelle Edwards Stadium. We think it's under the lights, but we'll find out next Thursday when the kickoff times are announced. Yeah,
you guys got to let me know.
He's saying night. I don't know. I think it will be too.
Feels like it'll be late night.
We're always the late night game.
Yeah, but August 31st
That's
it's
okay
hot in
in
the
August.
day, so late August night.
August
nice.
football in Utah, it's hot. Let's do night.
A lot, Jake, has been said and made of your Jewish faith and being the quarterback at a predominantly Christian school. Do you like that that's that big of a deal?
Sure. I appreciate I mean, it's part of who I am, so I'm not ashamed of it in any way.
Right.
So
No, and I don't mean that.
cool.
I just mean it's a thing. And,
it is a thing.
And that's okay being a thing.
I'll admit, sometimes I'm like, let's just talk about ball. What are we doing?
Sure.
But other times I'm like, yeah, it's definitely a big deal, especially in today's political climate. It is kind of a huge deal. So I wouldn't say it's overplayed. I can imagine it would be overplayed, way more overplayed in other situations at other schools. Now, BYU, of course, being a religious institution, is it's easy to kind of be a big factor in who I am. But I mean, like I said, I don't mind it being as big as it is, especially today's days and age. Like, I feel like I was talking to somebody about, there's the big story about how Sandy Koufax didn't play on Yom Kippur, right? And then he ended up pitching Game 7 World Series and he won the World Series. And people have asked me the questions, have you thought about that? Well, it's a funny thing that, like, interestingly, it doesn't get brought up because we do play on Saturdays, which is the Sabbath. But I tell people my Sabbath is simply this. I get to go out on the field and play in front of millions of people, repping my faith as proudly as I possibly can. Is that not Sabbath? I mean, is that not the perfect thing to be doing on the Sabbath? Is to be 100% yourself in front of all these people? Like, I love that I can be that beacon of Judaism in front of all those people. I love that ESPN put that graphic up, and then somebody made a meme of it, and that was all over, Instagram or whatever. Half my, friends are sending it to me. And I was like, that's so cool, because now there's kids on campuses like UCLA where all this crap is happening. They get to be like, okay, something good's happening. You know what I mean? There's not enough good news in the world, period. So might as well be some of it.
Yes.
And so that's what I love about it, is that is good news, that there's a Jewish starting quarterback at BYU. That's good news, because maybe some thought that was impossible, and also maybe some thought that the Jews aren't doing too well right now, because frankly we're not. Israel being in the state of war that it's constantly in, and even worse now, and the political climate all over campuses in America right now, it's unbelievable. And I'm so grateful to be at a place like BYU where they're nothing but supportive, and it's so awesome to be that. And to be part of that and be part of this institution. I'll tell you what, I've been so grateful for BYU to allow me to have this platform, to allow me to be, faith-oriented, and allow me to grow in my faith. Because coming to a school like BYU, it's so faith-oriented. Everybody's talking about it. It's part of class. I take religion classes, and, I was in a religion class where they pray before every class. We pray before every meeting. You know what I mean? And so it's like, well, it's so much easier to grow in your faith when you're around people who are of faith. It's that simple. It's like, surround yourself with people who you want to be like, because you'll become like them. And that's kind of how it's been. I've been able to grow in my faith as a Jew. And so, sure, maybe I sometimes can get tired of it. Yeah. But I'll tell you what, I just take a step back and I'm like, no, I'm not tired of it, because I get to do something that people get to look up to. I get to see the DM in my messages like, hey, it's so awesome to watch you play. I'm so happy you're Jewish. So am I. Like, from a kid who's 12 years old, like, who knows where, people, especially on the East Coast, is where you get the highest population. But it's like, you just get the unlimited support from these people who, like, maybe didn't know this was possible, and now it's possible. And so it's incredible to be in the position I'm in, and to be able to share my platform and use my platform to spread this positivity, spread this light.
Fantastic.
That's great stuff.
Mark Comer of the Royal Blue Collective was with us a few moments ago. How important has the Royal Blue been for you?
They've been incredible. And I'm just going to echo what I know so many people have been saying about the opportunities that they provide that is outside of the financial support. Like, to be able to talk to the guys that I get to talk to is just, like, absurd to me. Like, if you told me 3 years ago that I'd be in the conversation with some of these guys, I'd be like, yeah, whatever you say. Yeah, you feed me a bunch of crap. But it's like, it's so true. And the network at BYU, I can't stop talking about it, because sure, I heard it when I was getting recruited, but I didn't really know what it meant. What does network mean to a 17-year-old kid who doesn't know anything about the world but thinks he knows it all? And so I've just been so grateful for it. There's just guys all over the place that are just like, man, I'm here if you need it. I'm here if you need it. I had breakfast with Justin Kiesel, who's the head of global sales over at New Skin, and just had, ate in his office and just got to chat with him. And, he's a guy who's been in the football world and is just so supportive of guys like us. And so it's so awesome for that. And you guys earlier were talking about, like, be able to do your taxes with the guy. Like, I did taxes the day before tax day because my roommate was going over to the tax guy's house and he invited me. And so I was like, yeah, I need this. So I went right with him and got it done. And so it was great. And so, like, the network around BYU, the support around this program is just unbelievable. And the collective has just amplified that and made it so much more accessible, because it's one thing to have a network, but it's another thing to be able to tap into it fully.
A lot of feedback on the live stream. Amen to a number of things that you've been saying, and Cougar Nation's excited to see you play. Are you ready for 5 questions? This is
different than what we asked you before. This is like, and Macy's going to have to do this too. So
yeah, listen up.
Don't Macy, don't listen.
Okay, so here's 5 questions that are going to reveal a lot about yourself.
Yeah, and you just answer them like the first thing that comes to the top of your head.
Your teammates are no longer the target here. Right. This is all you.
Your favorite sports movie?
Oh, remember the Titans.
That's our number one.
Hoosiers has got to be second.
Yeah, I think Hoosiers is 2.
Titans.
Moneyball is a close second, but I remember the Titans was one we watched. Like, my youth football team, we'd watch it as soon as we were coming up to the season. We all go to Coach's house. He'd have a projector in the backyard. We'd lay our blankets out and watch Remember the Titans in the backyard.
It is a classic. Awesome. And when I'm clicking through, I have to stop.
Still gives me
Hoosiers
goosebumps.
2. Somebody came on and said, "Bring it on." I'm like, "Bring it on." And they go, "Yeah, the cheerleading movie." I'm like,
"Yeah, that was a first."
Come on.
So, favorite singer or band?
Zach Brown Band.
That's kind of old school.
I bet you that's like a first for you guys.
That's the first Zach Brown Band.
Yeah, that is the first.
I love it. It fits the California vibe for me. You know.
Okay.
So I like it.
All right.
Your favorite breakfast cereal. Now this is important.
Okay, only one answer.
Yeah.
The goat of all goats. There's not even a question. It's Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
No,
I thought you were going to say Captain Crunch, but
he's a
we went to
Captain
Cinnamon
Crunch
Toast
guy. I'm a Cinnamon Life guy.
I've never
Which
had
is it's
Cinnamon
not
Life.
that far
I've
off
never
of Cinnamon
heard
Toast Crunch. Cinnamon Toast Crunch is a little sweeter, so I get it. People that pick really healthy cereals,
They just think they're better than us, so they can.
Macy, don't listen to this. So
Let me tell you what my wife did the other day.
Well,
and she doesn't know, and she's listening, I think, and she doesn't know that I know. That
she doesn't know that I know. She's gonna now.
She's going to now. So
She probably does. She's your wife.
I like Captain Crunch. I like it straight, right?
He doesn't
I
like with crunch
I don't eat crunch
berries
berries.
or, you know,
Well, anyway, some crunch berries came into the house somehow, and they just sat there. And I ate either Frosted Flakes or Fruit Loops or whatever because I'm 10. But the crunch berries just sat there, and then all of a sudden, in the container of the Captain Crunch, one day the crunch berries were gone. And it was just the Captain Crunch. I think she took the crunch berries out to get me to eat the rest of the Captain Crunch.
She separated the crunch
I think
berries?
she did. And the reason I could tell is at the bottom, when all the sugar comes out,
It was like the red and
it
blue.
was all the colors. And I'm like, I see what's happening here. But I ate them. And I don't know where the crunch berries went.
So
but
to Diane, can I say
it was unnecessary and unrequested.
that's a labor of love right there.
But it was
100%.
It was
His
awesome.
wife loves him.
But whose favorite cereal is one that cuts the roof of your mouth? Which Captain Crunch absolutely would
Look,
do.
once you get a couple calluses up there, you just
Okay. Your favorite sports moment doesn't have to be at BYU. Favorite sports moment ever.
Wow, that's a really good question. Man, I don't think there's a moment that I can think of that. Oh, I'll go with one I had in junior college.
Okay.
It needs a little bit of backstory.
Okay.
So I played at Riverside City College my second year, but my first year I played at Golden West College. Now I live in Riverside County, and Riverside College was the closer one. My brother had already been there. And so when the prospect of me going there was probably good, it was like, my brother's already there. I can go succeed there with him. I can play with him. The head coach said, we don't need him. We already got 7 quarterbacks. And I said, all right, whatever you say. They were the number 1 team in the country. Going in that year, I went over to Golden West, who was not a high-ranked team at all. It never was. We're 3-0 going into game 4 against Riverside, number 1 team in the country at their place. They hadn't lost a home game in 10 years.
Oh, nice.
I like where this is going.
I like this story so far.
Yeah, so this is, so the setup is why it's such a great story. I played out of my mind. I played so well that their coaches thought we had their practice tape. They thought we knew their signals, their plays. We thought we cheated our way to victory, but in reality, I had the game of my life, and so did the guys around me, and we played. And I ended up going for 500 yards, like 5 total touchdowns. No, it wasn't 5. It was like 350, 5 total touchdowns. And we ended the game in victory formation. And right after the game, my dad, who was a football coach for 25 years, he knows how to get on a football field because he's a football coach 25 years. And he ends up on the field at the end of the game. And I have an incredible picture where I give him the biggest hug I've ever given in my life. And that embrace was like so special to me. That is my favorite moment of sports, football, of my career.
That's awesome.
It was the beginning of my story in proving those wrong, because I came in COVID where I didn't get any recruiting. I had to go to junior college where like recruiting is still not great, especially when the transfer portals started coming out. And so it was the beginning of like, all right, all you guys said no to me at a high school. You said no to me, all these times at camps I was never looked at. At the Elite 11, I was with the group that was just the guys that were never even looked at. At all these things I was never looked at. And I was like, all right, this is the beginning of proving all of those guys wrong, all those people wrong. And in that moment, the more I look back on it, the bigger it gets to me. And so that's why I love that for my favorite sports
That's
moment.
a perfect,
Great answer.
great moment. So,
All right, number 5.
yep. Favorite thing about BYU?
Man, that's a really good question. I'd say the community. As bizarre as Utah County is, the BYU family is unbelievable. It's untouchable from anybody else's perspective. I don't think there's much like it, where the unrelenting support, the fact that you can fit 65,000 people in that stadium and not give them a drink of alcohol, and it's the loudest stadium in the country. It's just unbelievable. And not that the alcohol is that important, but that's just like the love and the support that surrounds it is so authentic and so great that it's just irreplaceable to me.
The great Jake Retzlaff. We look forward to August 31st.
So do
Probably not as much as you, but it's got to be a close second. Because Cougar fans, this is how they mark the passing of time.
Yeah. If you need an old quarterback that's been there, you can always either walk upstairs to the 3rd floor and talk to Robbie, because he's just up there. He's probably not doing anything either, so he'd love you to stop in the office.
He's golfing if he's not there.
If he's not in the office, he's
golfing with him.
You know what, Robbie?
Picked it up.
Robbie and I'll play with you. We'll take you.
Let's go.
Let's
go. Yeah, let's go.
So, or you can always come over to our house and talk for a while. So
sounds good. You guys are probably cool enough to get on Riverside Country Club, so I got to join you guys.
Yeah, Dave and I are both members over there, so you can come play with us.
Sweet.
So
let's go play.
Anytime.
During COVID, we really took it up, and then the last couple of years we've been so busy we haven't played much, but.
Well, I got you an excuse, so let's go.
Yeah, we'll come. We'll take you out for sure.
All right, we're going to let you go back to the green room because you're going to come back and we'll do a Q&A for Cougar Board here in just a few minutes.
Thanks so much, Jake.
Jake Retzlaff, we look forward to seeing the Cougars. Hey, are you starting camp the last day of July or is it into August for fall camp? With the early start of August 31st, is everything up a week? Or is it still
so it's
early
4
August?
weeks of camp. I know that for a fact.
I think they're going to report. I think we were just trying to go through this. Yeah, the first.
I wonder if the schedule.
The game is August 31st.
It is 31st. I know it's 31st for sure.
Yeah.
I think you guys are probably going to
4 weeks.
You're going to report. They're going to probably report the 31st of July and start camp on the 1st of August. That's my bet.
I could see that being the case.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we'll start. Yeah, that's what I see happening too. It'll.
Yeah.
Regardless, I'm ready. I'm ready for it. Regardless, whatever it is.
Okay.
Hey,
we forgot about this, right?
Before you go, the Cougar Board question of the week, which is different from what we're going to do later. But I just found out this question's actually for you.
Yeah, there you go.
So if you're not familiar with Cougar Board, and our audience is growing more and more familiar with it, the largest online community of BYU fans with thousands of posts daily. I've got my Jets shirt there because Zach was still on the Jets. He's off the Jets, and yet I'm still wearing the Jets.
my Red Sox shirt on, and he's got his Jets shirt on.
I got to get rid of the Jets thing. Acadian8 from one of their insider subscribers. Tell us about summer workouts. Are they just 7-on-7? Are they structured? Are they officiated? And how many players show up? So basically, what's going on in the summer with the team?
So first thing is strength and conditioning workouts times 10. So this is where you see the biggest improvement in guys' strength abilities, speed abilities. And so what's awesome about it is you get some guys come to fall camp that have just developed so greatly, especially the young guys, that you're like, oh, this guy could make a big impact this year. And so hopefully we see that this year. But other than that, we have what's called player run practices. That'll happen as we get closer to camp. And so basically I get a script and we run out there and we run through this X amount of plays. Now something that who did it when they were here? I forget. I think it was McMahon or I forget. One of the quarterbacks who was here, he hosted a 7-on-7 every Saturday. Or no, he hosted 7-on-7 like every week during the summer and said, defense show up, offense show up. Let's go have some competition every Saturday because we're tired of just strength and conditioning all day. And so that's something that I really want to do. It's something we didn't do it last year, but I really want to do it because I want to bring the competition aspect to spring. And now we get that with our strength and conditioning program. But I think it'd be good for us. Obviously, be smart with guys. Like, this is not fall camp. Let's not kill each other right now. But
no Achilles issues, no nothing.
Yeah. Don't be yanking on people for no reason. But still, let's go run routes against each other. Let's have our safeties and corners see routes in front of them. Let's have our receivers see coverages in front of them. I think that's going to be really good for us. So that's something I really want to do. I've already talked to a couple of defensive guys about it, and they're all in on it. It's just about getting guys there. So that's kind of leading into the next part. When it talks about how many guys are there, everybody's there. Like, it's summer training. It is mandatory. There's no question about it. Now, they do have to give us a certain amount of time off, so we'll have a week off. We'll call it discretionary period at the end of May. There'll be one in the beginning of July during July 4th week. And, you find out which guys aren't going anywhere and are going to stay in the gym and work hard because they want to succeed a lot. And usually that's a lot of guys. So you don't get a lot of guys leaving during those weeks, even when it's discretionary. Right. But, yeah, and so when it comes to those player run practices, still everybody's going to those because that shows a lot. And they're not optional. They're mandatory. And now there's no real way for us to punish you about it, but there is.
Everybody goes.
Everybody goes.
When you get to this level, everybody's committed.
Exactly.
Or they're out.
Exactly. They'll weed themselves out so fast. And you see that when you, like, if there's a kid who you bring in like a spring ball or something like that, and you could just tell that they often don't even make it through spring ball. They do something like hit the portal, give up football or something like that. You know what I mean? And so at this level, these guys are so committed that they'll all be at these player-run practices in the summer.
All right, that's a great answer for the Cougar Award question of the week. You were just down with John Beck. Are you going back in any off time? Are you going back to train with him, or are you done with him for a while?
I'll probably see him hopefully early July.
Just for some fine tuning.
That'll be the last fine tuning because camp will start at the end of July. I just looked it up. The report days are the 30th.
30th.
And so, yeah, I'll tune it up with him. His kids are now old enough; they're going to be playing. They're going to be at the camps out here in Provo.
So he'll be up.
And so he'll be up here. I'll be able to throw with him for about a week. Hopefully, I'll get him to stay as long as he can. Awesome. Because I'm always grateful to whenever I get to work with him.
Hey, just so you know, Jimmy Mack, because I played with Jim for a year, his senior year, 76 NCAA records. In 7-on-7, he used to say, the goal should be 90% completion. There's nobody rushing, for Pete's sakes. If we go below 85% in this drill, then I will kill all of you.
He said to the quarterbacks?
To the whole offense.
Yeah.
To the 7 players on offense, all the skills. He's like, 90% should be the goal in this. Nobody's rushing. If we go below 85, I'll kill all of you.
That's Jim McMahon.
That was what his expectation was in 7-on-7.
I don't know how connected he is to BYU anymore. I hope we can get him for an alumni game or something. That'd be incredible.
I
gotta connect with that guy.
Yeah. You haven't met Jim yet?
I have not met Jim. That's one guy
you met
that
Steve at the alumni game.
Met Steve at the alumni game this past year, which is pretty awesome. He gave me some great advice. Max Hall is another one I got to meet. Yeah. People who've seen me play, have felt me play, they say that my grittiness is a lot like Max and Jim.
Yeah, you know what? We have to figure out how to get you together with Jim. He comes up once in a while. Let's see if we can get him up here this fall.
Yeah.
We're working to get him to come up for the alumni game next year. Steve and I were talking about it.
If he can just sit there and throw passes. He's not as mobile as he used to be.
Well, neither was Steve, and he threw a touchdown, so I don't want to hear it.
That's right. That's true. All right, you're back to the green room.
All right, thanks.
The great Jake Retzlaff. Outstanding. You know, we had a great visit with Gary, and we've had a great visit with Jake.
Yes.
And you just feel, when they're done, you just feel like they're the starting quarterback.
And you're like, and you know what? And BYU's in good shape. That's what you feel.
Absolutely. A couple of notes before we bring on our next guest. With men's golf, they just missed out on the NCAA championships by a single shot at the Austin Regional. And baseball wrapped up last weekend.
Yeah, the 21-31 final record, 7-23 in the league. They beat Grand Canyon 8-7, their home finale last Tuesday. They beat K-State in the season finale on Saturday in Manhattan, Kansas. Parker Goff hit a grand slam in the 10th inning for the win. How
that
about
was
that?
Nice. They made for a nice flight home. They had a rough time in the Big 12.
And one of our former guests here, Big 12 honors, Kahil Eloy, all freshman team. And Stone Cushing, Mason Olson, Colin Reuter, all honorable mention. A lot of work to do in the offseason to get ready for year 2 in the Big 12. That's what a great baseball conference it is.
It's gonna be tough. They've got indeed a lot to do. Women's basketball star recruit Delaney Gibb named to the Canadian Senior Women's National Team training camp roster. Mm-hmm. They'll start practice tomorrow and go through Thursday in Edmonton, Alberta. The 4-star combo guard's going to make her BYU debut this fall. The Canadian national team, by the way, qualified for the Paris Olympics over the weekend.
Yeah, I can't wait to see Delaney on campus and on that team. Although our next guest, Macy, can guard her. No problem.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
Track and field, the NCAA West preliminary start Wednesday through Saturday in Arkansas on ESPN Plus. 52 Cougars qualified for the competition. And that is our setup for our next guest. Just a sophomore, already number 6 in program history in the pentathlon, and number 7 all-time in the heptathlon. She's a headline maker as a 2-sport athlete, and her job on campus creates headlines for her teammates in the sports information department. Our pleasure to welcome Macy Taylor to the Wise Guys. We're sorry Jake took so long and you just had to wait. Are you okay with that?
I'm just happy to be in the same room as the BYU
How about that? There we go.
Have you met Jake before?
I haven't. I've watched him.
Yeah.
Let us formally introduce you. This is Macy. She's a phenomenal 2-sport athlete and also great PR and writer and all that kind of stuff. So there you go.
We got a lot of questions for you. Let's start with the difference between the pentathlon indoors and the heptathlon outdoors.
Yeah, so the heptathlon is 7 and the pent is 5. So when we go outdoors, we throw the javelin and add the 200. Whereas the pentathlon is the hurdles, high jump, shot put, long jump, and 800.
What's your best event of the 7?
I'd have to say high jump because that's what I qualified for the preliminary round this Saturday. But relative to other heptathletes, I am pretty good at the 800, but I wouldn't qualify for anything postseason.
So high jump and 800 though, those are your
Yes, those are the two events I scored the most points in.
So the team's preparing for the West preliminaries, 52 athletes. So we're going to talk about your job here in just a little bit. But where do you fit in the mix here as far as competition this week?
I should probably have a little bit more optimistic attitude. I'm a heptathlete through and through.
Yeah.
And so I actually just barely missed out on the national meet. They take the top 24
And you were 26, right?
And I was 26. So it was quite a heartbreak this past week. And I was hoping some athletes would scratch, but when you're a heptathlete, that's basically what you do. And so no one did. But I'm excited to just go give it my best shot. I really don't feel like I have a lot of pressure on me because it's not my main event.
But you'll be in the high jump. And will you be in anything else?
But I'll just be in the high jump. Okay. It'll be interesting to go to a meet and not feel like I'm gonna throw up from running or
right.
or I don't have to throw anything. That's what I'm most excited about is I don't have to throw. It's definitely not my strength.
So jumping is?
Yeah, what's the goal? What height do you want to clear this? What would be your PR if you could just get your PR this weekend?
Yeah, so the progressions are set up to where I could hit my PR exactly, which is 5'9.25". And then the next bar would be a stretch, but I mean, definitely going to attempt it.
Let's
I think
go.
it's like 5'11" and something. So
Let's
sure.
go.
Just go for that.
Let's go get
Yeah.
it. So if you got 5'11" and something,
Yeah.
would you qualify for nationals, do you think?
my guess is that will be the bar that goes, but you have to jump clean. So that means on every first attempt.
Right. You can't miss two and go.
I don't think so. I mean, it's
Macy,
really,
let's go. It's 5'11". Let's do
5'11".
this.
Really stiff competition, but it'll be fun. I'm excited.
So what is your job with sports information, with the Sports Information Office?
Yeah, so I do a lot of writing, lots of previews, lots of recaps. Basically, women's track and field on the BYU Cougars website. I am doing all those bio updatings, the top 10s, the historical things, as well as connecting my fellow teammates to media and pitching some of their stories and accomplishments. But also, I help with a lot of football media, basketball, and so I'm really exposed to all the other sports, and it's just been really fun to learn, and I've found out that this is really something that I'd love to do in the future as a real job.
Now, it should, for the record, there's no other student on campus.
All of our research shows that
there's 36,000 students on campus that is in charge of promoting the athletes on the same team that you compete on. Mm-hmm. Why isn't you just put your name in all the headlines and then get to the rest of the team? But instead, you got to keep track of everybody. How do you do that while you're doing your thing?
Yeah, I actually think it makes my job easier because I'm there at the meet where I'm seeing things happening, and I'm also really familiar with the sport, so I know what marks would be headlines and like really admirable. And so just getting into a routine, like every Monday I'm updating bios and writing the preview. Tuesday I'm creating a doc of who's competing when, and then like throughout the weekend I'm just preparing for the recaps and making sure all the live results links and everything are up to date. So it was...
And your classes, and then you have classes.
I'm just sitting here and I'm just shaking my head because I'm thinking, so she's doing this and she's competing at a really high level, top 26 in the country in your event. So you're a high-level Division I athlete. You've got to take school as well. So you're doing school, and then you're trying to
a newlywed, throw a newlywed in there
to your marriage.
Yeah.
How are you doing all of this?
Well, I will shout out my husband. He is on the track team too. So some of our time together is at practice because we don't have very much outside of it. Sometimes I call myself an anti-procrastinator. Sometimes I don't get good scores on assignments because I'm doing it like 2 weeks before it's due and the teacher hasn't really talked about it yet.
Wow.
But I'm just such a checklist person. So I found out that if I do it like way ahead and way in advance, that I'm less stressed and I can just keep on my schedule.
Wow, it's impressive.
That is impressive.
Jake doesn't do half that much stuff, and he's impressive. So you've got it going. By the way, we've got another new Keith Robertson checking in from Kuwait on the live stream.
Are you kidding me?
How about that? That's our first one over
Kuwait
there.
in the house. That's pretty awesome. I don't know if you weren't here early enough. We got Philippines in the house, Colombia, new tonight from Kuwait and from Chile.
Yeah, Chile was another
on
one.
the live stream tonight. Yeah,
that's like Jake said. He goes, it's impressive wherever you go. The Cougar Nation is everywhere.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
You know,
And as you guys go and compete in meets around the country, do you find that you get support from BYU fans and on the road?
I don't know if I'm the right person to ask for this. I don't feel like track and field has a huge fan base.
It's hard. My daughter ran track. It's hard to cheer at track and field. There's so many things going on, and you don't even know who's winning.
It is. And shout out to my family. Heptathlons are some of the longest days at the track. Especially when we're there watching our decathlon teammates, the guys that have 10 events, it's like an all-day thing. So I don't blame fans for not really wanting to be there sometimes. But I will say that going out to restaurants and in the airports and stuff, you do see a lot of BYU fans, and they're always super nice and come up and introduce themselves.
As they should. BYU track star Macy Taylor's on the Wise Guys. Back in high school at Cedar in southern Utah, she won individual state championships in the high jump, the 100 meters, and the 300-meter hurdles, 100-meter hurdles. She also led her basketball team to 3 state championships and was named the 4A MVP twice. After your first track season, you walked onto the women's basketball team, played there for a year, then you went back to track this year. Why did you choose running over shooting hoops when it came down to it? Because you're pretty good at both.
I feel like my ultimate potential lies in track. Yeah. And growing up, that wasn't my favorite sport. I mean, I love basketball. Throughout my sophomore year of college track, I was in like the biggest slump, both athletically and mentally, that I've ever been in. And I was like, I'm going to quit. Like, I can't do this anymore. And then the opportunity for me to walk onto the basketball team came up, and there were extra roster spots. And so I took it. And it didn't end up being exactly the experience that I wanted. But I mean, I learned so much about college basketball, and it was so intriguing for me. Yeah. But also being a walk-on and not like getting opportunities to really play.
You need the ball to score.
I mean, I was more of a practice player, and so I think that it did teach me a lot. It taught me how to celebrate other people's success and really be a team player. But also after that season, I really it made me crave track more than I ever have. Really? And so I was like, you know what, I'm going to work even harder, and I'm going to get back on the track, and I'm going to be better than I ever was. And so it was such a learning experience for me.
That's good.
It sounds like basketball got you out of your slump.
It really did. In a way, it did.
There's that. Yeah,
that's very cool. Basketball, hey, if it did nothing but that, then it was a great thing to do, right?
It was a great break from track, and also it was just fun to see a different sport. I mean, I don't think very many people get the opportunity to be involved with 2 different Division I sports.
No, they don't. Yeah, you got to be really good to do that.
And so, just learned a lot, and now I know I'm back where I should be, and nothing but learning experiences from that.
And full speed ahead. Your husband Josh is a sprinter on the men's team. He's tied for the fastest 400-meter time indoors in program history. Was it his speed that attracted you to him, or what was it?
So I actually saw him at track meets in high school.
Oh, really?
And he's a really good-looking guy.
Did he ever say hi to you, or did he big time you in high school?
He's handsome.
Or
he's
did
fast.
you big time him in high school?
Well, our dads actually worked together, and I didn't know that. I was pointing him out to my dad, and he's like, "Yeah, I know. I work with his dad." And so and then I knew he committed to BYU. He's actually a year older than me.
Yeah. But what high school did he go to? He didn't go to Cedar.
No, he went to Skyridge.
Oh, he went to Skyridge. Okay.
Yeah.
So up in Utah County. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I just knew that if he ever asked me on a date, I would be completely down. And so about 4 months into his freshman year, he asked me out, and then the rest is history.
Wow. Nice. What'd you do on the first date?
Don't tell me you went running.
Yeah,
no,
that would be too
or
cliche.
shooting baskets. We don't want shooting baskets either.
We got ice cream, so that was good. Always down for ice cream. And then we went to the men's basketball game.
Oh, so nice.
Yeah. Now
chose well.
He's redshirting through this outdoor season because of a beach incident.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What happened?
What happened at the beach?
So we normally go to all the meets together, but this outdoor season, we've kind of split and gone different directions. Yeah. So he went to Mount Sac, and I actually was off that weekend. And after the 4x4, they went to the beach because they were done, and then they were flying home the next morning. And I think he was on defense, and he went to go like try and intercept the ball, and he like rammed his toe into someone's heel.
Like they were playing beach football?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Right in the season?
Yeah. Well, he has to live. I mean,
So what
he's
happened to the toe?
I mean, it was all crooked, and then our trainer Dustin, I heard that he was pulling on it for like 5 minutes, and tried to straighten it out. And Josh is so tough. He was like, this isn't gonna stop me. I'm gonna run on it. But spikes already aren't very comfortable.
No.
And when you have a broken toe and you're putting that much force onto it,
Seems like you couldn't do that. Right.
Yeah. And he's way too talented to use a season on not being 100%.
Right.
So he's going to
what's his potential in that race? And does it translate to outdoors for him as well? Can he be an NCAA
For sure.
in the 400?
Yeah, I mean, his PR is 45.7.
Oh, goodness.
And I know his ultimate goal is 44, but even if he runs a 45.7 again, I mean, he qualified for nationals, so he just has to do it.
44 gets him in the, like, competing in nationals, right?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So beach football's off.
No more beach football.
That is on the no
Yeah.
list. What do you expect from the team later this week? You're sending 52, and you're one of them going into the prelims. Is this a team that can get enough to nationals to have a shot at it?
I know that there's a lot of, being from the sports info side of things, I don't know if this is our best shot at nationals, because with the trials coming up, we have a lot of talented, primarily distance runners that are going to redshirt and be ready for the trials. And then
when you say trials, you're talking about the Olympic trials.
Yes.
Yeah. So these are the elite athletes that are going, wait, we're going to go to Olympic trials.
Yeah. So we're talking Megan Hunter, Lexi Holiday.
Yeah.
They would be huge contributors. But I know that they had an extra indoor season due to COVID. And so if they redshirted this outdoor, they would be able to use all of next year and then kind of be more fresh for the Olympic trials rather than being so tired from the entire collegiate season. So I'm not sure that this is our best year as a team nationally, but I know that a lot of people have a really good shot of making it, especially people in my group. I know Sierra Tidwell-Alphen, like 5-time All-American in the high jump. And then Rebecca Erickson just set the school record in the pole vault, and I know she has a great chance as well as other distance girls and sprinters.
Well, we're going to be watching the high jump.
Yes, for sure. That's what we're going to focus on.
The thing is they don't have a live stream for the high jump.
What?
So
It's just off on the end?
That's not
well,
fair.
the live stream starts at like 5 p.m. and we jump at 2. So
That's not right. That's not right. Well, we're going to follow up next week and let everyone know how you
Yes,
did. Are you ready for 5 questions?
I am.
Did you start thinking about it as you heard Jake?
Yes, I did.
All right.
Okay, well.
That's to your advantage.
Let's start with your favorite sports movie then.
Favorite sports movie? I'm not a movie person. Whenever my husband and I watch a movie, I fall asleep within 5 minutes.
Even if you go to the movies?
Not if I go to the movies, but I don't like really going. But I will say probably Thunderstruck. I don't know if you've seen that.
Is that the roller derby one? No.
No, that's with Kevin Durant.
I thought that was a song by AC/DC.
Oh, yeah, Thunderstruck is a song by
That
AC/DC.
is a song.
So this is a Kevin Durant one?
Yeah, so he like switches his talents with this like, I don't know, like a high school boy or whatever. And then this high school boy just starts playing like Kevin Durant. And then Kevin Durant is like, his shot's broke. He can't do anything.
I've never heard of this one. I'm going to have to
We're gonna
check it out.
Thunderstruck.
Check out Thunderstruck.
Okay. All right.
So a movie's not a good date. What is your favorite date? This isn't one of the 5. I'm just like, what is your idea of a great date then?
I'm a foodie. Like, I love going out to eat. Like Rodizio.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's it.
Aubergine,
Okay.
any ice cream place.
Okay.
Take me to eat and I'm happy.
Tell everybody out there the best ice cream place in Provo that you could possibly go.
In Provo?
Yeah. Or Orem. Provo Orem. Jake needs to know this.
I would say Cold Stone. I mean,
Okay.
I'm just so simple.
Nothing
like
wrong with that.
There
Yeah,
could
Cold
be
Stone's good.
There could
There's
be
Leatherby's. There's Cold Stone. BYU Creamery.
Leatherby's. That's
BYU
good
Creamery's
too.
pretty awesome.
I just go to where the Haagen-Dazs is at the
Handles.
grocery store.
Jake's throwing handles,
Handles. Thanks, Jake.
in there. Okay, I'm noting all of these because I love ice cream.
I'm the person that if there were 150, 200 flavors, I would still choose chocolate. So I just
There you
need
Nothing wrong with that.
the
Tell you,
best chocolate.
my guy that helps me with my diet, because I'm old, and to stay in any remotely close to physical shape, he says, what do you crave? And I go, ice cream every day. Like, I just want to have ice cream every day. And he goes, okay, can't take that away from you. So when you have ice cream, you have to leave the carton in the freezer. You can go get a tablespoon, then you go to the freezer and open it, and then you can take a tablespoon out of the freezer and then close the freezer, and that's what you can have.
That's discipline.
So that's how much ice cream I have pretty much every day.
I'm not that disciplined.
He goes to the fridge 1,000 times, but
No, I
it's still
can't go
limited.
back. I do that much a day. So, okay. On that note, your favorite breakfast cereal?
So I was actually watching Coach Taylor's episode this morning just to kind of get a feel of what this is. And I will agree with her. I don't have cereal. I'm more of a protein shake, smoothie type of
we were giving
person.
Diljeet a hard time about this, but
okay.
a protein shake, I got to admit.
The thing is if you have protein in the morning, like a bunch of protein, you crave the ice cream and the sugars less at night. So you got a protein pack in the morning.
Here's the thing. You know what? I have a protein shake and a protein bar every morning before I work out.
And you still crave it?
I crave ice cream nonstop.
Did I miss the favorite band?
I'm coming back to that.
Oh, okay. Are you out of order?
No, yeah, because we were
I'm
talking
sitting there
about
going,
food.
Where was the band?
Let me do this. Here we go. Your favorite singer or band?
Luke Combs.
Luke Combs. Okay.
I'm a country girl.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
He gets this like really good tickets to country. Like country's got ties to country, even though he's a hard rock.
We like
guy.
Keith Urban. I think
Oh,
Keith Urban's
I
okay.
love him too.
He took me to Keith Urban because of his buddies.
Jake, is that all right? Keith
songs.
Urban? Okay.
And but he also like we're also good friends with I'm losing my mind, Dave, from West Virginia.
Hey, are you name dropping on our own show?
Yeah. You're the
Paisleys.
one. Oh, the
Paisley.
Paisleys.
Yeah.
And he gets.
We're
back
in with the Paisleys.
Oh, wow.
So that makes us feel
We're name
cool.
dropping. We're name dropping.
That's what we're doing. All right.
Okay, your favorite sports moment?
I would say this past, well, I guess it was 2 weekends ago, week and a half ago at Big 12s. I actually won the 800 section of the heptathlon. And the reason why that's my favorite sports moment is because the heptathlon's more than just like being good at each event. It's like a team effort. Like my trainers, my poor mom is like running and getting me all this food and staying hydrated. And the 800 is a really fun event to win because it's like after all of this, like it was so humid, it was so hot, and we've already done 6 events over 2 days. And to be the one that was like, yeah, I had the most guts in that race.
Yeah, I'm the toughest one out here.
That's awesome. And so, and I ran the race really smart. I hit my splits really even because if you go out too fast, then it just hurts really bad. But with 150 meters left, I remember thinking to myself, like, do I want this? Like, can I do this? Yeah. And I was like, oh, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt. And it took me like 5 seconds to decide if I really wanted to.
Really? Right in it.
You're in the race and you're having this discussion in your head. Do I really want this because it's going to hurt?
Yeah.
And then you made a conscious decision. That's okay.
I said, you know what? I've worked too hard, and I had probably the best kick of my life.
Wow.
And I just pulled away from the 3 girls that were ahead of me. And to finish off the hep, and gave my coach and my parents and everyone that was there supporting me big hugs. And it was awesome for all my hard work to come out and be gutsy.
That's a great
way to be gutsy.
That is a great explanation too of the thought process going to the end of that race. Which is harder? I know your husband runs 400. Mm-hmm. 400 or 800? Which is harder?
The 8.
Of course it is.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Josh has got easy at the 4.
I think the 4 is hard too. It's a full out sprint for 400 meters. I die.
Yeah, but you have to think of the time comparison. I mean, like you're suffering for twice as long, and I don't know. It's a lot of time to think about how it hurts rather than the 4. It's just it's over a lot faster.
Wow.
Okay.
That tells you a little bit about track. So
yeah, it does.
It hurts for less time to run the 400. Therefore, it's easier. Okay. Last question. Your favorite thing about BYU?
My favorite thing about BYU, and this comes from the standpoint of an athlete, is just like the support of every department trying to help you. And we're talking nutrition, athletic training, academic help. Like there are so many people, full-time job is to help the athletes. And if you need anything, someone's there to help you. And so, I just love being here. I'm so supported. I mean, I have every resource to thrive, and it's just been a great opportunity. I'm so happy I chose to come here.
It's awesome.
The football communication staff recently recognized as a top 11 Division I department by the Football Writers Association of America as one of the best performing athletic communication departments in Division I football. Second straight year they've won the award. You're part of that staff. Congratulations.
Thank you. I wouldn't say I'm too a part of that staff.
We're saying you're part of that staff because you help those guys out, and of course you do what you do with track and field and the other sports. But what a fascinating person you are.
Oh,
nice
thank you
job.
so much.
So good to have you on. And you watched Diljeet's, Coach Taylor's interview on here with us.
Yeah.
How'd you think she did?
She's an amazing public
She's
speaker.
phenomenal, isn't she?
I mean, how can you not listen to what she says and be motivated?
We
Right.
love her. Like we wanted to go run as soon as she was like she left. I'm like, I feel like I want to go run.
She's a huge advocate for believing in yourself and believing in other people. And I always, every time she does a podcast with someone, I'm like, I gotta watch this.
She is an amazing woman. She really is.
When do you go to Arkansas?
I actually leave tomorrow morning
Tomorrow
at 7.
morning at 7 a.m.?
So
and you came with us?
Nice job.
I leave tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. and I don't compete until Saturday at 2.
It's like a vacation almost, except you got to work.
Except for
And
I have to
train.
work and be nervous.
And be nervous. We wish you the best of luck.
Yeah,
Thank
and we
you
wish
so
we
much.
could watch it on the live stream.
We'll be
It sounds like
cheering
we're
for
missing,
you.
but we'll be watching for results.
Perfect.
So, great.
Thank
have
you for
great
coming
luck,
on the
Macy.
show.
We'll see
Thank you so much.
All right, that's the great Macy Taylor, and heading off to NCAA preliminaries in Fayetteville, Arkansas at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, and on the
She
Wise
needs to go
Guys
home and get a good night's sleep
here
tonight. So
and we wish her the best later in the week. Hey, will you model our defense drinks while I read this?
we'll do this. Yeah.
DJ, can we do that?
By the way, you can see the remnants. I already drank mine today.
Blaine is our model here. Defense Drinks
drink
makes
it.
a pre-workout that's caffeine-free. Get the energy and performance boost without disturbing your sleep, having caffeine jitters, or caffeine crashes. No one wants those. Being caffeine-free and using clean ingredients means it can be safely used by you and NCAA athletes, and you can save 10% on your order at defensedrinks.com using the promo Wise Guys.
Yeah, and they're good. Like I drink
it
it
is
every,
right there.
I drink the collagen one every week when I come in. I do the pre, but I do that before I go work out early in the morning. So they have a good pre that's non-caffeinated. So it's good stuff. Yep, I believe in it. I use it. So.
Let's head down the stretch here at the Wise Guys. The NFL schedule, by the way, was announced since we were last on. Their key September games for former Cougars. We just spotlight a couple of them because, well, we love football.
Right.
And September 15th, the 49ers with Fred Warner at the Vikings with Jaron Hall.
That's right.
Chance to reunite.
Exactly. September 22nd, the Eagles are at the Saints. And, of course, the Saints have Taysom Hill and Jamal Williams as part of that roster.
That's a big early game against the Eagles.
It is.
Also on the 22nd, Fred Warner and the Niners against the Rams and Puka Nacua.
What a name Puka
Fred
made
will
for
be trying
himself
to
in year
tackle
one.
Puka.
Wow. So September 22nd, also that same day, the Chiefs are at the Falcons. We got Andy Reid, who is the man with the Kansas City Chiefs. Tyler Algier still with the Falcons.
And it's Sunday Night Football, so the whole world will be watching those two. September 29th, the Broncos and Zach Wilson play at the Jets.
Can you even believe that?
It could be Zach against Aaron Rodgers, and I think that would be awesome. And then on the 29th, also, it's the Saints and the Falcons, so it's Taysom, Jamal, and Tyler all together. Again.
I am so hoping that in that Broncos-Jets game that Zach's the starter and he just balls out, goes lights out.
I hope so, too. Isaac Rex, by the way, waived by the Lions as an undrafted free agent. That was quick.
Yeah.
We'll see if he can get on with another team. All right, on this day, May 20th, 1862, President Lincoln signs the Homestead Act to provide cheap land for settlement of the American West.
Right. 1871, Levi Strauss and Jacob. Hey, I got.
I know it.
Here.
Just keep going.
And
Stay
Jacob
focused.
Davis patented the first blue jeans with copper rivets ever.
1932, Amelia Earhart leaves Newfoundland on her journey to become the first woman to fly solo nonstop across the Atlantic.
That's right. 1983, the Police release "Every Breath You Take," and it later wins Billboard Song of the Year.
That's a great one. 1989, on this day, Field of Dreams premieres in U.S. theaters.
1993, final episode of Cheers airs on NBC. 274 episodes.
That was sad. We loved Cheers. In 2015, David Letterman hosts The Late Show for the last time. And at an undisclosed year on this day, Blaine Thomas Fowler was born.
Hey, we're not going to talk about the year.
And look who's here to
celebrate. We're not going to talk about the year.
We got a wide shot. Hang on, we're going to adjust the camera.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Papa. Happy birthday to you.
Yay! This is my whole game. And notice there's no sign of how old I am on this either. It just has a Y on it. So
Hey, there we go.
Let's just say it was a long time ago.
Introduce your group real quick.
Oh my gosh, this is the whole family, and these are my grandkids. We can do each one individually.
Yeah, just real quick. Yeah, why not? It's fun to be on the Wise Guys,
Kingley,
isn't
Kate,
it?
Tyson, Claire, Bradley, Tanner, and then these are my kids. This is Abby, Gavin, who works with Jake on football. Well, it doesn't work with quarterbacks, but he works with the guys that are trying to stop Jake from completing balls. And Abby is Gavin's. This is Kellen, and we already got Tanner. This is my oldest, played free safety at BYU. And this is Sarah, his wife, and this is Landon, my second oldest son, who played corner at BYU. So
and Libby's on Broadway.
Yeah, Libby's back, and she's actually
And Nicole's home with a new baby.
Nicole's at home with grandchild number 12. What's grandchild number 12's name, you guys? Yeah, baby. She's home with baby Jones in St. George, and then Libby's she's probably just about to go on in Wicked tonight.
You wonder where they get all their on-camera charisma.
That way.
Yes.
Why do you use that way? Hey, this
Go back out.
Hey guys, thanks for coming.
So that's a crew.
Happy birthday.
I love you guys. Thank you for coming to see Papa on his birthday.
Hey, and you can meet Jake Retzlaff right over there. Yeah.
You guys, everybody
Thanks,
go give
Brenda.
Jake a hug.
Give Jake a hug, just because you can. How about that? That's a Wise Guys first right there.
Yes, wow, that's great. We didn't do this on my birthday. Well, we've never had a Wise Guys show on my actual birthday or on your actual birthday.
But we've got one today here on May 20th. Also sharing your birthday, 1908, Jimmy Stewart. And Cher in 1946.
And you know what? Today I got the sweetest text from Ron Dyer. So Ron works out at the gym that I work out with. He's Bart Oates, Barry Oates, that whole Oates family, great football players. He's their uncle. And he always talks to me about football. So he texted me today, and he said, happy birthday, because he and I share a birthday. He goes, I'm not going to say how old. He goes, for me, it's 89 today. And then he says, you know what? Just so you know, you'll probably remember that Charles Lindbergh made his famous solo transatlantic flight on May 20th, 1927.
How about that?
So it's a good date to be born. So there's one other thing that happened. The first solo transatlantic flight happened on May 20th, 1927.
That's awesome. Richard's in from Panama. He says, sorry he was late, but you got here for the birthday party.
And Ruthie, thanks for the birthday wishes.
And we had you surprised.
Linda,
We had you surprised.
yeah, you guys surprised me.
No idea.
I had no idea this was going down. So
on this day, on May 20th,
Thank you, Michael.
1506, Christopher Columbus. That's notable.
Yeah, and Robin Gibb from the Bee Gees in 2012 passed away on May 20th.
Our Wise Guys inspirational quote of the week is from the great Jimmy Stewart.
Yeah, of course. Never treat your audience as customers, always as partners.
How about that?
We just treat them like family.
Family, partners, you bet.
Yep. We just decided, and you're our listeners, which really are our customers. You're our family. So we're glad to have you in with us tonight. And we thank you for joining us this week.
Thanks to Mark Comer, Jake Retzlaff, and Macy Taylor. Next week, Cody Epps will be with us. Basketball newcomer Mariah Hudgens. We'll also have, we think we'll have one of the new assistant basketball coaches. We'll find out tomorrow and we'll get the word out.
So
podcast is up tomorrow. Share it with your friends. And hey, remember, we got an awesome June 3rd.
Oh,
Andy
man.
Reid will be on the show, and it just gets bigger
goes
after
from
that.
there.
So that's Blaine. Happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you.
By the way,
thanks.
We've been together for a number
We've
of
been
your
through
birthdays.
a lot of birthdays together.
Like 33 of them.
Yeah, at least.
But this is the first time we've had a cake brought
ever
to us.
on the air that we've ever had my birthday.
That's awesome.
So
happy birthday. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next time.